I opened my eyes suddenly on the train, and everything around me felt painfully clear. Across from me, my friend Cheng Zhixia was tying her braid with a red rope. Two guys behind us were talking excitedly about Qinghe County. Cold air mixed with coal smoke blew through the rattling metal door between the train cars. But what scared me most was the cool feeling against my chest. I pressed my hand over the second button of my shirt and felt it, a jade ring hanging on a red rope, cold as ice against my collarbone. "Wanqiu, you're finally awake," Zhixia said, looking worried. "You were shaking in your sleep. I called your name 3 times, and you didn't answer. Were you having a nightmare?" I tried to speak, but my throat felt like it was scraped raw. I could only shake my head and look out the window. This was early spring, 1974. I was on a green train with other educated youth, heading to Xiangyang Production Brigade in Qinghe County. That much I knew for sure. But why did I remember so many strange, impossible things? Zhixia offered me a cornflower bun her mother packed. My stomach churned. In my dream, I saw a place called the Modern World, supermarket shelves full of colorful snacks, cream so sweet you could smell it from half a street away. But looking at that simple bun now made me feel sick. "No thanks, Zhixia," I finally managed to say, my voice dry as rust. "I'll rest a bit more. I really can't eat." I closed my eyes and pressed my forehead against the cold window glass. The visions flooded back like a dam breaking open. It wasn't a normal dream. It was like someone shoved an entire book into my brain, and every page was written in my blood and tears. The book said the jade ring around my neck wasn't just an ordinary family heirloom. The night my mother gave it to me, the oil lamp flickered against the white hairs at her temples. Her hands trembled badly as she wrapped the red rope around my neck 3 times, her fingers rubbing the faded cloud patterns on the ring over and over. "This has been passed down in our family for generations," she said. "Your grandmother gave it to me, and now I'm giving it to you. Remember, never let outsiders see it unless you absolutely have to." I was too busy crying that night to take her words seriously. Then one evening at the dormitory, Zhixia noticed the red rope peeking out from my collar while she was fixing my hair. Her eyes lit up bright. "Wanqiu, what's that around your neck? It looks really pretty. Can I see it?" Just one look. Zhixia always had this gentle way of talking that made it impossible to say no. I was so flattered that someone like her wanted to be close to me that I took off the rope without thinking. The jade ring sat in her palm, its dark surface glowing softly under the oil lamp. She turned it over and over, then smiled at me. "It's beautiful. Can I borrow it for a couple days? My mom used to have a jade bracelet, but she lost it. I just want to feel what it's like to wear jade again." Well, I hesitated for just a second. "Just 2 days," she said, slipping the ring onto her finger and waving it around. Her smile was sweet as honey. "I'll give it back for sure."
I promissa, I nodded.
But that ring never came back to me. It was like it grew onto her hand. First she said she got it dirty working and needed to clean it. Then she said her mother wrote a letter asking to see it. Later, she just stopped mentioning it at all. I gathered my courage and asked once. Zhixia's eyes turned red immediately, tears falling like broken beads. "Wanqiu, how can you think that about me? I just feel a connection with this ring. What's wrong with wearing it for a couple days?" The other educated youth stared at me like I was the villain. I panicked and never asked again. But now I knew the truth from those visions. That ring held an unbelievable secret. Inside it was a square space with 2 carved wooden doors, one leading back to our 1970s world, and the other opening into that place called the Modern World. Behind the modern door, there were big houses with tile floors, boxes that made their own cold air, tiny devices that could hold hundreds of books. Most importantly, you could buy things there that didn't exist in our time: white flour, Western medicine, even ointment that healed wounds fast. And wild vegetables from our side could be sold over there for crazy prices. Zhixia used those 2 doors to live like she had cheat codes. I saw it all in my visions, her sneaking into the back hills at night, cutting a basket full of shepherd's purse with her sickle, then trading it through the door for bags of white rice. She used modern antibiotics to, luckily, cure the brigade's secretary's son, earning herself easy indoor work. She even traded fancy fabric from the modern side with a supply store manager's wife for industrial coupons, and soon she was wearing the nicest Dacron shirt in the whole youth camp. And me? I was like sugarcane squeezed dry and tossed in a corner for people to step on. Without the ring protecting me, I became Zhixia's opposite. People said things like, "Look how capable Comrade Cheng is. Lin Wanqiu can't even hold a sickle properly." They said, "Cheng is so kind. She carries water for Grandma Wang. Lin Wanqiu just hides inside being lazy." My food was never enough. I had no energy to work. I got thinner and thinner until my bones stuck out, and the cotton coat I brought from home hung on me like a flag on a pole. Then there was Wang Erlai, that lazy thug who hung around the youth camp door every day, eyeing people sideways. Someone must have put ideas in his head, because he set his sights on me. One evening I was walking back from delivering the work point records, taking a shortcut past the threshing ground. Near the haystacks, the smell of alcohol hit me. Comrade Lin all alone. Wang Erlai grabbed my arm like an iron clamp, his yellow-black teeth flashing in the dim light. "Keep me company for a chat. I'll buy you candy." I was terrified. I fought with everything I had, but how could my strength compare to a man who did farm work every day? I don't even know how I broke free. I just remember running desperately, losing one shoe, my foot cut open on rocks, blood trailing from my ankle into the frozen dirt behind me. The next day, the whole village exploded with gossip. "Did you hear? Lin Wanqiu was messing around with Wang Erlai by the haystacks last night. I always said she was no good. Looks quiet, but her mind's in the gutter. A girl's reputation is everything. Who would want her now?" Zhixia found me with red-rimmed eyes, holding a neatly folded handkerchief. "Wanqiu, don't take it to heart. Wang Erlai is the bad one here. But he sent someone to say he's willing to marry you. If you marry him, this whole thing goes away." I was shaking with rage. My finger pointed at her, trembling. "Did you tell him I was taking that road? Was it you?" Zhixia froze. Then the tears came pouring out. "Wanqiu, how can you think that about me? I'm trying to help you. With your reputation now, who else would want you besides Wang Erlai?" People crowded around, all talking at once. "She's right, Wanqiu. Wang Erlai may be rough, but at least he's a man who can put food on your table. A girl's reputation matters most. If you don't marry him, how will you survive?" Those voices were like a net with no gaps, trapping me inside. So I married Wang Erlai. He beat me when he was drunk. He cursed me when he was sober. He worked me like an animal. I carried his child and still had to haul water in freezing wind. Every meal was rough grain that scraped my throat raw. The night I gave birth, snow was falling heavy. I rolled around on the dirt bed in agony. Wang Erlai was in the next room drinking with his buddies. He didn't even bother finding a midwife. I could feel my life draining away bit by bit. The last things I saw flashing before my eyes were my mother putting the ring around my neck, my cousin's red eyes as he saw me off at the train station, and Zhixia standing outside the supply store holding a bag of fruit candy, smiling with that smug look on her face. In the last moment before everything went dark in that vision, I could still hear Wang Erlai laughing in the next room, hear my blood dripping onto frozen ground, and feel the weak movement of my unborn baby, a child who never even got to open their eyes. The freezing cold swallowed me whole. "No." I snapped my eyes open, chest heaving, cold sweat soaking through the back of my shirt. The train was still rattling along the tracks. Zhixia had finished her braid and was quietly eating her corn bun, her face looking so gentle in the sunlight. But my palms were stinging badly. I looked down and saw that my fingernails had dug deep into my skin without me realizing it. Little holes were bleeding, red drops seeping out. My mother's words exploded in my head. "This has been passed down for generations. Never let outsiders see it." My heart started pounding like crazy. I couldn't sit still anymore. I jumped to my feet so fast I knocked over my canvas bag, spilling stuff everywhere. "Wanqiu, what's wrong?" Zhixia looked startled and reached over to help pick things up, her concern looking completely real. "Are you really dizzy? Should I call the train attendant?" "No." My voice was shaking and I didn't even notice. I dodged her hand, shoved everything back into my bag. "I need the bathroom. I practically ran to the toilet at the end of the car. The second I locked the door, I slumped against the cold metal and gasped for air. The tiny space stank, but that awful smell actually helped calm my spinning thoughts. It reminded me I was real. I was alive. I was here. With trembling hands, I untied the red rope from my neck and took off the jade ring. I squeezed it tight. The wounds on my palms split open again, and my blood covered the dark jade surface. But I didn't let go. I pressed harder, smearing more blood onto it, my eyes burning with fury and determination. "You're my family's heirloom," I hissed at the ring, my voice rough with anger. "You should recognize me. Why should you belong to that thief?" Why? The instant those words left my mouth, the ring burst with a blinding red light. It burned like a red-hot branding iron. I tried to drop it but couldn't. It was stuck to my palm like it had grown into my skin. Then a powerful force pulled at me from inside the ring. My mind was ripped away from my body. Everything spun. All I could hear was howling wind. I don't know how long it lasted. When the spinning stopped, I slowly opened my eyes. I was standing in a strange space. It was rectangular, about the size of a small warehouse. Everything around me was white and hazy, no walls or ceiling that I could see, but it didn't feel cramped. On each side stood a heavy wooden door with carved patterns. The frames had fancy cloud designs that looked like something from ancient Ming or Qing dynasty furniture. "This is the space," I whispered. The ring was gone from my hand, but I could feel it clearly. It hadn't disappeared. It had merged with my mind. With just a thought, I could sense this whole space existing inside me. In my vision, Zhixia always wore the ring around her neck and nearly had it stolen by a pickpocket on a train once. She had to hide it carefully under her clothes every day. But my ring had fused directly with my consciousness. Then I understood. This ring was passed down through my family's bloodline. It recognized blood. Zhixia was an outsider. Even if she stole it, she could only barely use the space. She could never truly bond with the ring the way I just did. I was the ring's real owner. Joy rushed through me so hard it washed away all my fear and anger. I never had to worry about the ring being stolen again. As long as I kept quiet, nobody would ever know my secret. Once I calmed down, I looked around the space carefully. Both doors were shut. I didn't know which one led back to my 1970s world and which one led to the modern world. I took a deep breath and walked to the right door. It was heavy. I had to push hard just to crack it open. Behind it was thick white fog. Through the haze, I could make out some kind of transparent barrier. On the other side of that barrier was a busy, colorful place. Rows of neat counters piled high with all kinds of food. Red tomatoes, green cucumbers, purple eggplants, even mangoes and lychees I'd only ever seen in picture books, all stacked up like little mountains. People in all sorts of clothes were walking around pushing little carts. Fresh strawberries, 30 yuan a basket. Eggs on sale. Only 3.80 today. The shouting voices drifted through faintly. My eyes grew wider and wider. This was the modern world? This was the place where you could buy vegetables from any season, where you could easily get rice and white flour. My heart was beating so fast it felt like it would jump out of my throat. If I just stepped through that barrier, could I get food, medicine, maybe even things to help my parents survive in the cowshed? But reason caught up with excitement fast. I was still on the train. If I stayed in the bathroom too long, people would get suspicious, especially Zhixia. Those eyes of hers looked soft, but they were always watching me. I turned around and pulled the heavy door shut. It closed with a deep thud, sealing away all the noise of the modern world. I walked to the left door, took a breath, and pushed it open. This time there was no fog and no barrier. Behind the door was the familiar tiny space, the metal door with the "no smoking" sign. The train bathroom. I was back. I leaned against the door and let out a long breath, then touched the spot between my eyebrows. Nothing felt different on the outside, but inside my mind I could feel it clearly, that rectangular space sitting quietly in my consciousness, both doors standing still, waiting for me. Cheng Zhixia, Wang Erlai. I mouthed their names at the door, silently. Every trace of fear and confusion had drained from my eyes. All that was left was cold determination. This time, I won't let you win. The ring is mine. My life is mine. I'm going to survive. I'm going to keep my parents alive. We're going to hold on until our names are cleared, until the college exam comes back, and we're going to return to the city and live the life we deserve. I straightened my clothes and opened the bathroom door. The hallway was mostly empty. I walked back to my seat with my back straight. Zhixia smiled the moment she saw me and held out a corn bun. Wanqiu, you look so much better now. Eat something quick, or you won't have energy to get off the train when we arrive. I looked at her hand reaching toward me. Right now, Zhixia had no idea what she had already lost. I didn't take the bun. I just gave a small nod. No thanks. I'm not hungry. Zhixia's hand froze in the air, holding that corn bun. Her smile faded a little, but she kept it going. You sure? This one has soybean flour mixed in, tastier than plain corn. It'll get cold. I looked down at my hands. The nail marks from earlier had already scabbed over, leaving a numb ache. I remembered when we first met. When the train started moving, all the educated youth took turns introducing themselves. When it was my turn, my voice was barely a whisper. I'm Lin Wanqiu. My face turned red right after. It was Zhixia who jumped in from the seat across from me, with that bright smile. Wanqiu? What a beautiful name. Like that line from the poem. Fresh rain on empty mountains, the air of late autumn.
I'm Cheng Zhixia.
Zhi means to know, Xia means summer. Look at that, your name has autumn, mine has summer. It's like we were meant to be sisters. Back then my parents had just been sent away. The weight of it was crushing me. Everyone I knew had turned cold. Zhixia's words felt like a sudden beam of light. Finally, something warm. When we get to the countryside, if anything's too tough for you, just come find me, she had said, patting her chest with those bright starry eyes. My dad's family is from a village. I grew up spending time in the countryside. I can dig wild vegetables, cut wheat, everything. I'll look after you, I promise. How ridiculous. Back then, those sweet words made me cry with gratitude. I really thought she was my big sister. I would have shared everything I had with her. But now, looking at that caring expression on her face, all I saw was a bad performance. Behind that gentle gaze was greed for my jade ring. Behind it was her plan to climb up by stepping on me. Behind it was the cold heart that saw me as nothing more than a stepping stone. In my visions, the timing of Wang Erlai targeting me was too perfect. It happened right when I had been pushing Zhixia hard to return my ring and threatening to report her to the police. Really not hungry, I said, trying to keep my voice flat. I was in the bathroom too long. Feeling a bit nauseous, Zhixia pulled her hand back and wrapped the bun up again, still sounding cheerful. All right then, eat when you're ready. Oh, Wanqiu, what do your parents do? You've got such soft skin, you don't look like someone who grew up doing hard work like us. There it was. My heart skipped a beat. This was in the book too. This was exactly how Zhixia fished for information, quietly figuring out my background. Parents sent away. Living with relatives. Naive personality. No one to protect me. The perfect soft target. In my previous life, I still trusted her at this point. I vaguely said my parents were teachers, but didn't dare mention they'd been sent to a labor camp, and I definitely didn't say my uncle was the one who put me on this train. But even that little bit was enough. Zhixia stored it away, and later told people at the youth camp, Wanqiu's family are intellectuals. How would she know anything about farm work? It sounded like a compliment, but it painted me as a spoiled city girl who didn't belong.
Not this time.
My parents. They passed away a long time ago, I said, lowering my eyes and making my voice crack on purpose. I grew up with my uncle. He's getting old and couldn't afford to keep me in school. He heard you could earn work points in the countryside, so he sent me here. I felt Zhixia's gaze pause on my face for a moment, a flicker of surprise and suspicion, before it was smoothly replaced by thick sympathy. Oh no, I'm so sorry, I didn't know. Her voice went soft and she leaned closer, whispering, Don't be sad, Wanqiu. From now on, I'm your big sister. If I have food, you'll have food too. When we get to Shenyang Brigade, we'll work hard, save up work points, and someday we'll make it back to the city. Hearing those familiar, comforting words, my nails dug into my palms again. I thought about my real home, that little courtyard filled with books and machine parts. My mother was a Chinese literature professor at the university. She loved wearing her light blue dacron blouse, sitting under the grape trellis to prepare her lessons. Sunlight would filter through the leaves onto her lesson notebook, and every word she wrote was gentle. My father was a mechanical expert at a military factory. His fingers were rough but quick. He could fix a broken radio and also carve all kinds of little wooden animals for me. They loved each other so much. When my mother was pregnant with me, she had a scare that nearly ended the pregnancy. It terrified my father so badly that he refused to let her have another child after that. He said, "Having one Qiu is enough. I'll love you and our girl for the rest of my life." I grew up listening to my mother recite poetry and my father tinkering with machines. I would sit on my mother's lap and listen to stories from Journey to the West. I would squat by my father's toolbox watching him take things apart and put them together. I dreamed of standing at a podium like my mother someday, or building the most amazing machines like my father. But all of that was destroyed by one of my mother's students, a greedy, bitter person. He didn't get selected for a promotion, so he reported my mother for having overseas connections. I still remember that day. Our house was torn apart. My father's awards were ripped to pieces. My mother's books were piled in the courtyard and burned. The firelight flickered on my parents' pale faces. My mother held my hand, tears streaming down. "Wan Qiu, listen to Mama. You and your father need to cut ties with me." "Stop," my father cut her off, his voice hoarse but firm. "No man in the Lin family abandons his wife and child. If we go together. If we die together." In the end, my uncle came. His eyes were red. "Brother, sister-in-law, if you won't think of yourselves, think of Wan Qiu." To keep me alive, my parents finally agreed to publicly sever their relationship with me. The day I left for my uncle's house, my mother pressed the jade ring into my hands, wrapping the red rope around and around. She said, "This was passed down from your grandmother. It protects the one who wears it. Wan Qiu, stay alive. Wait for Mama and Papa to come back for you." I cried until I thought my insides would break. I grabbed the hem of her clothes and wouldn't let go. My father had to pull me away by force. When he turned around, I saw his shoulders shaking violently. After that, I lived at my uncle's house, and every night was a nightmare. Fire, screaming, my parents being pushed onto the back of a truck. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. In half a month, I wasted away until my clothes hung on me like a robe. My uncle's wife watched me getting thinner every day and wiped her tears in secret. "This child, if she keeps going like this, she'll fall apart before her parents even come back." My uncle sighed, smoked half a pack of cigarettes, and finally made the decision. "Let her go. At least she'll be closer to them. Maybe it'll give her some peace." Before I left, he reminded me over and over. "Wan Qiu, when you get there, never let anyone find out who your parents are. You look like your grandmother, not your parents. As long as you keep quiet, nobody will figure it out. Work hard, talk less. When things blow over, I'll find a way to bring you home." All I could think about then was being closer to my parents. I never imagined how hard the countryside would be, and I certainly never expected to meet Cheng Zhixia on this train, a venomous snake dressed in kindness. She brought me food. She mended my clothes. She even stood up for me when other youth picked on me. Step by step, she won my trust until she got her hands on my jade ring. Now it was all so clear. She had been calculating from the very beginning. Asking about my family was to check if I had anyone backing me, to see how easy I'd be to push around. Playing the loving sister act was just to lower my guard, so she could take my treasure. "Wan Qiu, you're spacing out again." Zhixia's voice pulled me back. "Thinking about home? Who doesn't miss home? My parents are cadres, but now that I'm heading to the countryside, who knows when I'll get back?" I looked up and met Zhixia's sincere eyes. My stomach twisted even harder. I forced a smile that probably looked worse than crying. "A little, I guess. But like you said, Sister Zhixia, if we work hard, things will get better eventually." I made sure to emphasize Sister Zhixia. I watched satisfaction flash in her eyes, and my heart felt like it was being stabbed with an icicle. Things will get better? In my past life, what did I get better? To getting my heirlooms stolen, getting my reputation destroyed, getting married off to a thug, dying in childbirth along with my baby, and my parents, hearing the news of my death, their hearts gave out in that labor camp. They died too. The train plunged into a tunnel. The car went dark instantly. Only the occasional light from outside flickered across Zhixia's face, making her look eerie. I closed my eyes and pressed my head against the cold window, repeating to myself over and over, Lin Wanqiu, remember this. From now on, no more being naive. No more being weak. No more trusting any so-called sister. All you have is yourself and the space hidden inside your mind. What you need to do is protect yourself, protect the ring, and wait. Wait for your parents to be cleared. Wait for the college entrance exam to come back. Then take them and leave this place that eats people alive. As for Cheng Zhixia, my eyelashes trembled, hiding the flash of cold light in my eyes. Everything you owe me from my past life, everything you owe my parents, I'm going to take it all back in this life. Every last bit, with interest. The train rattled on, and the sun climbed to the middle of the sky. The whole car filled up with the smell of food, the rough scent of corn buns, salty pickled vegetables, and from a lucky few, the meaty aroma of train box lunches in tin containers. White rice topped with braised pork and stir-fried greens. People tried not to stare, but they did. My stomach was completely empty. I pushed down all the feelings churning inside me and thought clearly. The road ahead was still long, train to Shin City, then a bus to the county seat, then another ride to the commune, and finally walking the rest of the way to Xiangyang Brigade on foot. Without energy, I wouldn't make it. I grabbed my water canteen from my army green bag and stood up to go fill it at the hot water boiler between the cars. Walking past Zhixia, I noticed her eyes on my bag. The second I got up, she flashed that familiar smile. Wanqiu, going to get water? I still have half a canteen. You can share mine if you want. I didn't stop walking. No thanks. I'll get my own. Her smile froze for just a second before snapping back to normal. Behind me, I caught her quietly pursing her lips. A few people were already lined up at the boiler. While I waited, my eyes drifted across the car. Most of the educated youth were hunched over eating their dry rations, some whispering about what countryside life would be like, excited or nervous. My gaze landed on the window seat diagonally across. A guy in a blue cotton jacket washed so many times it had turned almost white was eating a box lunch with his head down. His jawline was clean and sharp, his eyelashes were long, casting a small shadow beneath his eyelids. He had a quiet, cold air about him that set him apart from everyone else's noise. Shun Xinyan. From what I remembered in the visions, the book didn't say much about him. Just that he came from a cadre family in the city, kept to himself, and barely talked. But because he was good-looking, plenty of the female educated youth whispered about him behind his back. Zhixia was the most obvious, one of them all. When I came back with my water, I walked right into the scene. Zhixia had taken her corn bun over to Shun Jinyan's seat, her voice dripping with sweetness. Comrade Shun, your box lunch looks really nice. Did you buy it from the dining car? I went to check earlier, but the line was so long. Shun Jinyan didn't even look up. He just made a short sound. Zhixia acted like she didn't notice the coldness. She smiled again. I see your canteen's almost empty. I was just about to get hot water. Want me to fill yours while I'm at it? This time, Shun Jinyan actually raised his eyes. His calm gaze swept over her once. His voice was flat and even. No need. 2 words. Simple and clear, with a distance that left no room for argument. Zhixia's face turned red instantly. She almost dropped her corn bun. A few youth nearby who'd been eavesdropping quickly looked away, pretending they hadn't seen anything. The air turned awkward. Right then, a dark-skinned, stocky guy next to them spoke up loudly. Zhixia, I'm about to get water anyway. Want me to fill yours too, Lu Changshan? My hand tightened on my canteen. I remembered him. In my past life, when I chased Zhixia trying to get my ring back, Lu Changshan was the one who went after me the hardest. He pointed at my face and called me ungrateful, said Zhixia had been so good to me, and I was trying to cheat her. Every word cut like a knife. Right now, Lu Changshan was looking at Zhixia with eager eyes, his desire to please practically spilling over. He reached for Zhixia's canteen on the little table, but Zhixia glanced at his sleeve. There were dark greasy stains on it, like oil that hadn't washed out properly. Her eyebrows wrinkled just slightly. She quickly pulled her canteen back, smiling. No, no, I still have a little water left, that's enough for now. Besides, the line's so long right now, you'd have to wait forever. Anyone could see she thought he was dirty. Lu Changshuan's hand hung frozen in the air. His smile wavered,
but he seemed used to being treated this way.
He quickly grinned again. Right. Well, I'll go fill mine and check if the line gets shorter. If it does, I'll fill yours then. He grabbed his own canteen and headed for the boiler, not daring to touch Zhixia's things again. Zhixia let out a small breath of relief and sat back down. When she saw me looking at her, that gentle mask went right back on. Oh, Wanxiu, I completely forgot to ask. Want me to heat up your bun for you? If you soak it in hot water, it won't be so rough going down. I pulled out the mixed flour flatbread my uncle's wife had packed for me. I shook my head and took a big bite. No need. It's fine like this. The dry, hard bread crumbled slowly as I chewed, and gradually a simple grain flavor came through. I washed it down with hot water, eating carefully, bite by bite. In my past life when I first came to the countryside, I was always too picky to eat coarse grain. I went hungry all the time. It took me a long time to learn that having any food to fill your stomach was already an enormous blessing. Zhixia saw that I wasn't paying her any attention, so she turned back to Shen Jinyan, making conversation out of nothing. Comrade Shen, are you going to Xiangyang Brigade too? I heard the team leaders say our batch of youth will be spread across a few brigades in the area. Maybe we'll run into each other a lot. Shen Jinyan had finished his box lunch and was wiping his mouth with a handkerchief. He just gave another flat, without a single extra word. Zhixia hit a wall, but didn't seem discouraged. She tried again. I've been to the countryside before. Farm work is really exhausting, especially cutting wheat. Bending over all day long, your back feels like it's going to snap. Comrade Shen, with your soft hands, I'm worried you won't be able to handle it. There was a deliberate closeness in her words, mixed with the kind of concern that was really just looking down on someone. Even I felt uncomfortable hearing it. Shen Jinyan finally looked at her. There was a hint of cool indifference in his eyes. Whether it's hard or not, you only know once you try. Then he turned to the window and ignored everything else she said. Zhixia's face completely fell. She closed her mouth awkwardly and picked up her corn bun, chewing on it like it had lost all its flavor. I watched the whole thing quietly and laughed inside. Zhixia's little performance was obvious. She liked his family background and his face, and she wanted to latch onto him. From what the book showed me, Shen Jinyan was Zhixia's dream man for a long time. But he was too cold and distant, and no matter how hard she chased, she never caught him. It wasn't until the male lead showed up later that she finally gave up on Shen Jinyan. After lunch, the car quieted down. Most of the youth leaned back and closed their eyes. The sun was moving west, painting the fields outside in warm gold. I closed my eyes and rested my head against the cold window, but I wasn't really sleeping. I was going over the route in my mind, get off at Shin City, take a bus to the county seat, switch to another vehicle to the commune, then walk or ride an ox cart to Xiangyang Brigade. Every step had to go right. Especially at the busy transfer points, I had to stay alert. While my hand was inside my bag, I used the cover to quietly move my money and ration tickets into the space. Nobody noticed. After a while, the train's speaker crackled. Attention passengers, we are arriving at Shin City Station. Please gather your belongings and prepare to exit. The car came alive instantly. Everyone jumped up, reaching for bags on the overhead racks. All I had was a half-worn canvas bag with some clothes and bedding inside, plus my army green shoulder bag. But I'd barely eaten these past weeks and lost so much weight that my body was weak. It took everything I had just to pull the canvas bag down from the rack and hoist it onto my shoulder. Wanxiu, need help, Zhixia called from behind me. Lu Changshen was hovering around her, eagerly offering to carry her things. No, I didn't look back. I gritted my teeth, shifted the bag onto my back, pulled the straps tight, and shuffled toward the door with the crowd. Zhixia watched me go, then pursed her lips and turned to Lu Changshen with a smile. Well then, thank you, Changshan. This case looks small, but it's packed full. Really heavy, no trouble at all. Lu Changshan beamed like he'd been given the greatest honor in the world, taking her bamboo case with both hands. Don't you worry, Zhixia. I'll carry it nice and steady. The two of them chatted and laughed behind me. I walked ahead alone in silence. Stepping off the train, a blast of hot air hit me, coal smoke and dust mixed together. The station square was packed with travelers hauling luggage. Shouts, children crying, car horns, everything blended into one loud mess. In the middle of the square, people wearing red armbands held up a banner that said, Youth Reception Point. Several green buses were parked nearby with county seat, train station, painted on the side. All educated youth, come register over here, a middle-aged man in blue work clothes shouted at the top of his lungs. Line up by name, register, and get on the bus quick. Next bus leaves in 30 minutes. I followed the crowd to register, gave my name and destination. The worker checked off my name on his list and pointed to the bus on the far left. That one goes to your county. I nodded and went to grab my canvas bag. Hurry up. Stop dawdling. Someone yelled from behind. I bit down hard, hoisted the bag up, and shuffled forward step by step. By the time I managed to pass my luggage up to someone on the bus and squeeze through the door, the bus was already full. People were even standing in the aisle. Wan Qiu. There's room over here. Zhixia was sitting by the window, waving me over with a smile. The girl next to me is willing to squeeze in. Come sit. I looked where she was pointing. The girl beside Zhixia had indeed scooted over, but her face said it all, tight frown, pressed lips. She clearly didn't want to. I shook my head without a word and walked straight to the back of the bus, grabbing the overhead handle. Sooner or later, Zhixia and I were going to fall out. I didn't want to play along with her fake kindness, and I didn't want to put that girl in an uncomfortable spot. It was only a 2-hour ride. I could stand. Zhixia's hand froze mid-wave. Her smile faded. I could tell she was irritated, probably wondering what had gotten into me. This morning I did whatever she said, and now I was keeping my distance at every turn. The girl next to her quietly let out a breath of relief and whispered, That one seems pretty stubborn. Zhixia forced a small smile, but didn't reply. I knew she was keeping score in her head. The bus filled up fast, and the driver honked the horn. We pulled out of the station. I stood at the back, one hand on the handle, the other guarding my shoulder bag. The bus got stuffier and stuffier the further we drove. Most of the youth had never been on a long bus ride before. At first they were chatting and laughing, but as the bus swayed and the engine roared, faces started turning white. My stomach was rolling too. Every time the driver hit the brakes, a wave of gasoline fumes rushed in, and I nearly threw up. I bit my lower lip hard and forced myself to stare out the window. The scenery rushed past, the noisy station giving way to open countryside. Endless green cornfields stretched out, and once in a while I'd spot farmers working in the fields, bent over in straw hats, looking like stakes driven into the earth. Suddenly someone in the front row gagged and threw up into a plastic bag. The sour smell spread through the whole bus instantly. People sucked in air through their teeth and covered their noses. A few others started dry heaving too. Zhixia pressed her handkerchief over her mouth, eyebrows pinched together. My throat tightened. I shut my eyes and took deep breaths, over and over, until I pushed the nausea back down. I was secretly glad I hadn't eaten much that morning, or I probably wouldn't have held it together either. 2 hours of bumping and shaking later, the bus finally rolled into the county seat. It stopped in the open space in front of the county government building. Youth from each commune, gather over here, the red armband man shouted again. Group up by commune. Vehicles will take you to your commune shortly. I climbed off the bus. The moment my feet hit the ground, the world spun around me. I grabbed the door frame and stood there for a long time before I could steady myself. I looked up at the county building, green bricks, red paint, 2 guards standing at the entrance. The whole place felt serious and solemn. Register again. Get sorted again. Get on another vehicle. This time the rides to the commune were old trucks. The truck beds had a layer of straw thrown in, no seats at all. I learned my lesson from the bus. Before anyone else could react, I used every bit of strength I had to climb onto the truck and grab a spot along the edge. Sitting on straw wasn't great, but at least I could lean against the sidewall for some stability. I'd barely sat down when Zhixia climbed on too, with Lu Changshun helping her up. She seemed to still be upset with me. She didn't even glance my way. The truck filled up and the driver took off toward the commune. The road started out okay, but the further we got from town, the worse it became. Potholes everywhere. The truck bounced so violently that everyone was thrown around, bumping into each other. Complaints came from every direction. This road is terrible. My bones are going to rattle apart. If I'd known it'd be this rough, I would have walked. I gripped the sidewall with everything I had just to stay upright. The nausea came back even worse than on the bus. My face went pale, my lips turned white, and cold sweat beaded across my forehead. I closed my eyes and held on, just praying we'd get there soon. Then a hand gently touched my arm. I opened my eyes. The girl next to me had two thick braids and was holding out an orange candy wrapped in clear cellophane. Her skin was a bit dark, but she had big, honest eyes full of genuine warmth. "Are you carsick?" she asked quietly. "Sucking on a candy helps. I used to get carsick too. This stuff really works." I stared at that little orange candy, then looked at her sincere face, and felt a warm wave rise inside my chest. In the middle of this strange, bumpy journey, her unexpected kindness meant more than anything. "Thank you." I took the candy, peeled off the wrapper, and put it in my mouth. A sweet-sour orange flavor spread across my tongue, and the nausea actually eased up a lot. I dug around in my shoulder bag and pulled out a white rabbit milk candy, holding it out to her. "Here, this is for you." "Thanks for the orange candy." Candy was precious in these times. Orange candy and white rabbit were both treats, but white rabbit was much rarer. Most people only got to taste it during New Year. She clearly didn't expect me to give her something back. She blinked in surprise before taking it, her face lighting up with a delighted smile. "Thank you. I'm Lin Wanqiu. I'm going to Xiangyang Brigade," I said, my voice softer than before.
I'm Zhang Fenglan.
"Heading to Dongfeng Brigade," she said with a grin, showing two little tiger teeth. "We're not in the same brigade, but we can't be too far apart. Maybe we'll bump into each other at the market someday." "Maybe so," I said, and I actually smiled. We started chatting about our families, about what we imagined the countryside would be like. Fenglan said her family was originally from a village, so farming wasn't totally foreign to her. She was just worried the housing would be terrible. I told her I didn't know how to do anything and would have to learn as I went. Fenglan was straightforward and spoke her mind plainly. I was quieter but listened carefully, adding a word or two here and there. Without realizing it, the bumpy ride didn't feel so unbearable anymore. "By the way," Fenglan suddenly lowered her voice, "that girl called Cheng Zhixia. She came with you? I noticed the way she looked at you just now. She didn't seem too happy." I was surprised she'd caught that. I smiled. "We just happened to be on the same train. We're not close." Fenglan nodded knowingly and didn't push it. She just said, "When you're away from home, keep your eyes open. Some people look friendly on the outside, but who knows what they're really thinking." Something stirred in my heart. Fenglan might look simple, but she was sharp. I nodded.
I know.
"Thanks for the reminder." Just then the truck hit a huge bump. Must have run over a big rock. Everyone in the back was thrown sideways. I lost my grip and almost fell, but Fenglan caught my arm just in time. "Careful." She helped me steady myself. "The road's getting worse. We must be close." I collected myself and looked outside. Sure enough, a cluster of low buildings appeared in the distance. I could barely make out a sign that read, "Xiangyang Commune." "We're almost there," someone shouted excitedly. The whole truck erupted in cheers. Everyone perked up and started fixing their bags. I let out a long breath and turned to Fenglan. "This is my stop. Thank you for the candy, and for catching me just now." "Don't be silly," Fenglan waved her hand. "Take care of yourself out there. If things get tough, don't hold it in, ask around and talk to people." "I will." I nodded firmly. The truck rolled to a stop in front of the commune. The educated youth climbed off one by one. I shouldered my canvas bag and took one last look at Fenglan. She was waving at me. I waved back, then turned and followed the group toward the sign that said Xiangyang Brigade. The commune yard was packed with people. Educated youth from different brigades were gathering around their group leaders who held up wooden signs. I spotted the Xiangyang Brigade sign quickly. Next to it stood a dark-skinned, stocky middle-aged man wearing a patched blue cloth jacket with his pant legs rolled up to his knees. He looked impatient, glancing at the sun and stomping his feet. I carried my canvas bag over and stood in front of him. He turned and asked gruffly, "You assigned to Xiangyang Brigade?" His voice sounded like sandpaper on wood, rough but straightforward, the way country folk talked. "Yes, hello, sir," I said, keeping my tone respectful. He pulled a wrinkled little notebook from his pocket, checked my name, marked it with pencil, and pointed at the ox cart nearby. "Put your luggage on there. We leave when everyone's here." I looked at the cart. An old yellow ox was chewing hay lazily. 2 stuffed bags were already piled on the cart. I struggled to lift my canvas bag up, but the man grabbed it with one hand and tossed it on like it was nothing. I was amazed. He had the strength of 2 of me at least. "I'm Li Taizhu, brigade leader of Xiangyang," he said, dusting off his hands. "The village chief had something come up, so he sent me to pick you all up." "Thank you, brigade leader," I said. He grunted and turned away. He clearly had no interest in chatting with city youth. I found a spot under a tree and looked around. 3 people were already waiting by the cart, 2 guys and a girl. One guy wore a white shirt and glasses, looking bookish, reading an old book with his head down. The other was dark-skinned and strong, helping Li Taizhu arrange luggage on the cart. And the girl. I couldn't help staring for a second. She was wearing a pink dress with a puffy skirt, shiny little leather shoes, her hair pinned neatly with a red hair clip. She looked completely out of place in this dusty setting, more like she was going on a picnic than heading to the countryside for labor. Then I remembered. From the book, Zhao Yakin. Her family was military. She'd been spoiled growing up, with a stubborn temper. But when I thought about it more carefully, she actually had a good heart underneath. She had secretly signed up for the countryside on her own, because her older brother was already in the army and her little brother was only 7. She didn't want people saying her father lacked political commitment, so she volunteered herself. In the book, her princess attitude caused plenty of clashes with Zhixia, making her look like the mean side character. But when I was begging Zhixia to return my ring, Yakin was the one who actually spoke up and said a few fair words for me. Sure enough, before long, Zhixia and Lu Chongshen walked over. Zhixia's eyes flickered with surprise when she saw Yakin's outfit, but she quickly put on her gentle smile and went up to introduce herself. "Are you going to Xiangyang Brigade too?" "I'm Cheng Zhixia." Yakin glanced at her, lifted her chin slightly, and said flatly, "Zhao Yakin." Zhixia's smile stiffened. She obviously didn't expect such a cold response. Lu Chongshen jumped in to smooth things over. "Comrade Zhao, you look great. That dress is beautiful. Did you buy it in the city?" Yakin finally cracked a small smile and nodded. My mom had someone get it for me." A flash of jealousy crossed Zhixia's eyes, but she kept smiling. "It's really pretty. Just that the country roads are rough, might not be the easiest thing to walk in. That's my business." Yakin huffed and turned away, clearly not giving Zhixia the time of day. Zhixia hit another wall and went quiet. Lu Chongshen didn't dare say more either. The silence was awkward. I watched it all, without saying a word. I didn't dislike Yakin at all. Compared to Zhixia's fakeness, Yakin's blunt attitude felt much more real. About 15 minutes later, Shun Jinian showed up with a girl trailing behind him. She had her head down, apologizing. I'm so sorry. I couldn't find my luggage. This comrade was helping me look for it, that's why we're late." The brigade leader checked their names and marked them off. "Everyone's here. Let's go." Li Taizhu looked at the sky, stuffed his notebook back in his pocket, and clapped his hands. The second she heard that, Yakin grabbed her skirt and marched over to the ox cart, reaching up to climb on. "Let's go then." "Hey, what do you think you're doing?" Li Taizhu blocked her, his eyebrows scrunched up high. "This cart is for luggage, not for riding." Yakin looked confused. "Isn't an ox cart for pulling people? What else did you bring it for?" "For luggage." Li Taizhu's voice was hard as iron. "This ox belongs to the production team. It's our treasure. We barely let it pull fertilizer or grain deliveries. You think we'd let city kids just hop on for a ride? You're here to work, not to have a good time. What's wrong with walking? He paused, looked down at her little leather shoes, and his tone got even sharper. And those shoes, you think you can work in the fields wearing those? You're here to cause trouble, not to help. Yakin had never been spoken to like this in her life. Her face went bright red and she snapped back. I came here to train and improve myself, not to suffer. What's wrong with sitting on an ox cart? That's what the ox is for, working. What kind of logic is that? Li Tieju's voice boomed even louder. In the countryside, the ox is worth more than people. Whether we have a good harvest depends entirely on that ox. You educated youth show up and haven't even proven you can do anything yet, but you already want to boss the ox around. People from other brigades were staring now, pointing and whispering. Yakin's face burned. Her eyes turned red, but she stubbornly refused to back down. Zhixia saw her chance and stepped forward, playing peacemaker with that soft voice. Yakin, the brigade leader, just wants what's best for us. The countryside is tough. Let's listen to him and walk, okay? Then she turned to Li Taiju with a smile. Please don't be upset, brigade leader. Yakin's young and doesn't understand these things yet. We'll teach her slowly. That little speech gave Yakin an excuse to step down while making Li Taiju feel respected, and made Zhixia look like the most sensible one in the group. Li Tieju's face relaxed a little. He snorted but didn't say more. Lu Chongshun chimed in right away. Exactly. Walking is good exercise. Yakin looked at Zhixia's kind act and got even angrier. She opened her mouth to argue back, but someone gently caught her arm. She turned around. It was me. Don't fight with the brigade leader, I said quietly, but firmly enough to calm her down. Things work differently here than in the city. The ox really is precious to them. We just got here, let's not start off on the wrong foot. Yakin froze. She looked into my calm eyes, and somehow the fire in her chest died down a little. She bit her lip and stayed quiet, though her eyes got even redder. I turned to Li Taiju and spoke honestly. Brigade leader, Yakin didn't mean any harm. She just hasn't seen how things work out here. She should have other shoes in her luggage. Give her a moment to change. Those leather shoes won't last 100 steps on a mountain road before her feet are torn up. Li Taiju looked at Yakin's shoes, then back at me, and his expression softened. Fine, but hurry up. It's still over an hour's walk. If you keep dawdling, we won't get there before dark. He shot another glare at Yakin. City kids are so delicate. Coming to the countryside, and don't even know to wear proper clothes. How's she supposed to do any work dressed like that? This time Yakin didn't talk back. She just stood there with her head down, eyes red. I walked her over to the cart and helped her pull down her bag. She dug through it and found a brand new pair of army green rubber shoes and a pair of white socks. Go ahead and change, I said. Yakin took the shoes without a word and sat on her bag to put them on. Her movements were clumsy. She clearly wasn't used to this kind of footwear. Thank you, she said after standing up. Her voice was muffled and she was still feeling embarrassed about the whole scene, but the gratitude was real. Don't mention it, I said with a small smile. We're all in the same brigade now. We should look out for each other. She paused, then gave a slightly stiff Li Taiju saw that the shoes were changed and hollered, Let's move. He grabbed the ox rope and led the way. The old yellow ox plodded along behind him, the cart loaded with all our belongings. 6 of us educated youth followed behind the cart, walking along the dirt road toward Xiangyang Brigade. At first nobody thought much of it, but after less than half an hour, people started struggling. Yakin had her rubber shoes on now, but she'd obviously never walked this far in her life. Her steps got slower and slower, her face twisted with pain, stopping every few minutes to rest. My breathing got heavier and heavier. My chest felt blocked, like something was sitting on it. Every step felt like my legs were filled with lead. My vision kept going dark, and only pure willpower kept me moving forward.
Huff.
Huff. Yakin was holding her waist, gasping hard. How is this road so long? I can't even feel my feet anymore. I was too tired to talk. I just reached into my bag, pulled out a white rabbit candy, peeled off the wrapper, and handed it to her.
Eat this.
It'll give you a little energy. She blinked, then popped it in her mouth. The rich, milky sweetness spread across her tongue and seemed to push back some of the exhaustion. She looked at my pale face. Aren't you going to have one? I've got more. I smiled and unwrapped one for myself. Truth was, I didn't have many. My uncle's wife had secretly slipped them to me before I left, told me to treat myself once in a while. But sharing one with Yakin felt worth it. We walked side by side without saying anything more, but there was an unspoken understanding between us. Our footsteps naturally fell into the same rhythm. 10-minute break. Li Taiju suddenly stopped up ahead and turned around. If we keep going, someone's going to pass out before we reach the village. He'd obviously noticed how rough Yakin and I looked. His tone was still gruff, but some of the impatience was gone. Since Yakin had changed her shoes earlier, her feet weren't bleeding, so there was none of the constant stopping that would have happened otherwise. Li Taiju thought we were soft, sure, but he wasn't furious about it. And without all that drama, Zhixia had no chance to show off how understanding and helpful she was. Thank you, brigade leader. Yakin said it like she'd been pardoned from a death sentence. She practically dove for the shade under a nearby tree. I followed her over. Neither of us cared how dirty the ground was. We dropped straight down onto the grass, so exhausted we just wanted to collapse. Zhixia and Lu Chongshan came over too. Zhixia dabbed her sweat with a handkerchief, that polite smile still perfectly in place. Wanxiu Yakin, are you two okay? I have water if you want some. I truly had no energy to speak. I just waved my hand weakly. Too tired. Don't want to talk. Saving my strength, Yakin nodded along, still panting.
Yeah.
We just need to rest. Zhixia's smile stiffened. She clearly didn't expect to be turned down so bluntly. She'd been planning to make a show of caring for us, but got shut down. She awkwardly turned to Lu Chongshan instead. Chongshan, you must be tired too. I have a corn bun. Want some? Lu Chongshan looked thrilled, waving his hands. No, I'm not hungry. You eat it yourself, Zhixia. The two of them made small talk off to the side while Yakin and I leaned against the tree trunk with our eyes closed. Sunlight filtered through the leaves and made spotted patterns on our faces. The wind rustled through the branches. Cicadas hummed in the distance. For just a moment, everything felt peaceful. You know, I've never walked this far in my life, Yakin said suddenly, still catching her breath. Back home, I always rode a bike or took a car everywhere. The most walking I ever did was around our courtyard. I opened my eyes and looked at her. Me too, more or less. I walked to school, but never anything this far. Do you think we can actually survive out here? There was real doubt in her voice. I can barely walk this road. Forget about working in the fields. We'll take it slow, I said, gazing out at the distant fields. We'll learn eventually. Deep down, I knew better than anyone learning wasn't optional. This was my only way out. Yakin looked at my calm face and somehow felt a little steadier. She told me later that when she first saw me, she thought I was the quiet, invisible type. She never expected me to step up and speak for her. The 10 minutes flew by. Li Taiju shouted for everyone to get moving. Yakin and I helped each other stand, brushed the grass off our clothes, and shared a look. There was something new in both our eyes, a quiet understanding. Let's go. Halfway there, I said. Yakin nodded. I can definitely make it this time. We rejoined the group, still exhausted, but with a little more fight in us than before. We stopped just staring at our own feet and started watching out for each other, pointing out rocks in the path, grabbing each other's arm when one of us stumbled. The road was still awful, but the frustration and complaints slowly gave way to something else. A bond. The kind that only comes from suffering through something together. Zhixia watched us walking shoulder to shoulder, and I could tell it bothered her. She'd figured Yakin was spoiled, and I was weak, easy targets, both of us. She didn't expect that in half a day we'd become allies and leave her on the outside. She tried to come over and join our conversation, but we were talking quietly and didn't notice her. She gave up and walked ahead, clearly annoyed. After another half hour or so, a cluster of low houses finally appeared in the distance. A massive old pagoda tree stood at the village entrance like a landmark. You could see it from far away. There it is. That's Xiangyang Brigade up ahead, Li Taiju pointed forward, and I caught just a hint of relief in his voice. Everyone perked up. Our feet moved faster. As we got closer, I could see several older women sitting under the big tree, stitching shoe soles. When they spotted our group, they stopped working and stared, whispering among themselves. So these are the educated youth from the city. Look how soft and pale they are. Think they can actually work the fields. See that one in the dress? Pretty face, but she'll burn up in a day. And the plain-looking quiet one, she actually looks like she might be able to work. Zhixia immediately put on her brightest smile and walked right up to them. Hello, aunties. We're the educated youth here for the countryside. Please take good care of us. One plump woman laughed. Sure. We're all here to serve the people. Andy, those shoe soles you're stitching are so sturdy. You've got real skill. Zhixia poured on the charm, and within seconds she was chatting with the women like old friends. They praised her for being well-mannered and sweet-tongued. Yakin and I had absolutely zero energy for socializing. We were so drained that all we wanted was to reach the youth quarters and lie down. Forget greeting people. We barely had the strength to lift our heads. We kept our eyes down and followed quietly behind Li Taiju. The women's gazes swept over us, and we caught a few murmurs about those two girls not being friendly. We pretended not to hear. Those two are probably just worn out, a softer-hearted woman said, looking at our white faces. Don't gossip. Let them rest. Li Taiju waved everyone along. All right, stop standing around. Let's get to the youth quarters. Our group walked through the village, heading for where we'd be living. Li Taiju led us down the main road through the village, then turned into a narrow alley. At the end of it sat a courtyard that looked nicer than anything else around. I looked up at the gate. Two old wooden doors with faded carvings on the frame above. The buildings inside were made of green brick. The plaster was peeling in spots, but compared to the mud brick houses in the rest of the village, this place was impressive. Used to be the landlord's house, Li Taiju said flatly, pushing the gate open. It was taken during the land reform. They turned it into the youth quarters. He said it casually, but a chill ran through me. I remembered from the book. The original owner had been beaten to death right here in this courtyard by angry villagers. The locals thought the place was unclean. Nobody dared come near it. Only outsiders like us educated youth would be put here. A male educated youth in his 20s was already waiting at the gate, wearing a faded work jacket. His skin was dark, but his eyes were bright. He came over right away. Brigade leader, you brought them? Yep. Zhou Ji, these are the new youth. They're yours now. Li Taiju pointed at him and told us, this is Zhou Jijun, head of the youth quarters. He's been here 6 years. Ask him if you don't know something. The brigade leader had everyone unload their luggage from the ox cart, then left with the ox. Zhou Jijun smiled and nodded at all of us. Welcome, everyone.
I'm Zhou Viyun.
Follow me inside, and I'll show you where you'll be staying. He walked us through the courtyard, explaining as we went. The main hall up front and the east and west wings are the living areas. The hall is the dining room. The east wing is for female youth, the west wing for males. There are a few old rooms in the back courtyard, but nobody's living there right now. The main hall was spacious, 2 long tables pushed together in the middle, a few benches around them, some junk piled in the corners. Next to it was the kitchen with 2 big iron woks on blackened stove tops, firewood stacked against the wall, and the whole room smelling like wood smoke. I won't go into the women's side. Let me get the person in charge. He walked to the east wing door and called out, Zhu Mei. New female youth are here. A girl came out quickly. She had healthy wheat-colored skin, 2 thick braids, and a bright, cheerful smile. Here, this is Zhu Mei. She's been here 5 years. She's in charge of the women's side. Zhou Jijun introduced her. Zhu Mei, these new girls are yours. Don't worry about it, Zhu Mei said with a nod, looking us over.
Zhu Mei.
Come find me if you need anything. Zhou Jijun gave a few more reminders, then took the guys to the west wing. Zhu Mei explained the situation. There are already 7 girls living here. Each of these 2 rooms holds 5 people max. With you 4 new ones, that makes 11, one too many. My heart jumped. Here it was. Exactly like the book. Zhu Mei pointed toward the back of the courtyard. There are a few old rooms in the back. They're run down, but they're small enough that one person can have a whole room. Anyone willing to live back there? Zhixia immediately got that calculating look in her eyes, weighing her options. I knew exactly what she was about to do. In the book, this was where she stepped forward and volunteered to sacrifice, winning everyone's admiration and making Zhu Mei think she was so thoughtful.
Not this time.
I wasn't giving her that chance. I'll go, I said, stepping forward. My voice was calm. I snore in my sleep. I don't want to bother everyone. The back rooms would be perfect for me. Zhixia froze. Even Zhu Mei looked surprised. I was so thin and small, I really didn't look like someone who snored. But having a volunteer was better than an argument, so she nodded. All right, you'll take a back room then. Zhixia's face tightened. Her whole, selfless sacrifice speech died on her lips. She quickly switched to her concerned act, grabbing my arm. Wanqiu, don't force yourself. Those back rooms are falling apart. It's not safe for a girl alone. How about I go instead? I'm not forcing anything. I pulled my arm free without making a scene. I really do snore. Living in back is better for everyone. Besides, Zhu Mei said there's more than one room back there. If you want peace and quiet too, you're welcome to move back there with me. Zhixia choked on that and stammered. That's not what I meant. Let's go take a look. Yakin suddenly spoke up. She was curious. Maybe it's not that bad. I don't like crowded rooms either. If it's livable, I want my own room too. The other new girl, Ma Zhaodi, a shy, timid-looking girl, said quietly. I'll go look too. Zhu Mei led us to the back courtyard. All right, let's check it out. The back was definitely rougher than the front. A row of low rooms, all green brick at least, but with missing roof tiles, weeds crawling up the walls, looked like servants' quarters from the old days. Zhu Mei pushed open one of the doors. A wave of mildew hit us. The room was empty. No heated bed platform, just a broken wooden plank bed. Cobwebs in every corner. The window paper had holes in it, and the wind whistled through them. That's what you're working with, Zhu Mei said, palms up. If you want to live here, you'll need to fix the roof yourself and build a heated bed. Without one, winter will be brutal. Yakin looked at the mess and immediately started backing out. She tugged my sleeve. Wanqiu, maybe. Let's just forget it? This place is way too wrecked. Zhixia chimed in right on cue. She's right, Wanqiu. How can anyone live here? Come stay up front with us. We'll squeeze in. Nobody cares about snoring. We're all comrades. But I didn't waver. I leaned close to Yakin and whispered, think about it. Up front there are that many people in one room. When your family sends you food, are you going to eat it by yourself in front of everyone? If you share, you'll run out fast. If you don't share, they'll call you selfish. And with so many people around, things go missing a little here, a little there. Who are you going to blame? Everything I said came from my past life. In the beginning, Yakin had been generous, sharing her food with the other girls. But they only took, they never shared back. When Yakin stopped giving, someone started sneaking bites of her food, using her face cream. A little at a time, more than one person doing it, covering for each other. When Yakin finally caught on and said something, they whispered behind her back that she was stingy. It ruined her reputation among the youth. My words hit exactly the right nerve. Her family had money. Her parents would definitely send packages. With that many eyes around, it would be nothing but trouble. She hesitated, then looked at me.
So,
this place can really work? Fix it up and it'll be fine, I said with a smile. Patch the roof tiles, build a heated bed, and it'll be way more peaceful than up front. Yakin clenched her jaw. Okay, I'm living in the back too. Zhixia clearly didn't expect us to actually commit to this. She blinked, then put on her fake concern again. Yakin, don't be impulsive. I'm not being impulsive, Yakin cut her off firmly. I like having my own space. Ma Zhaodi watched us for a while, then said in a small voice, I'll go back to the front. I don't have money to fix up a room. Her family was poor. Having a roof over her head at all was good enough. She couldn't afford to be picky. Zhixia gritted her teeth behind her smile. Well then you two decide. I'll head back and help everyone get settled. She hurried off after Zhu Mei. Yakin and I picked 2 rooms next to each other. I took the one on the east side, closest to the back gate. easy to come and go. Yakin took the one right beside mine. We need to fix this roof fast, Yakin said, frowning up at the holes. Or we'll get soaked when it rains. Tomorrow we'll ask the village chief if someone can help repair it, I said. We were still talking when footsteps came from the back gate. We turned around and saw Cheng Zhixia. What was he doing here? He looked just as surprised to see us. He paused, then pointed at one of the rooms on the west side. I'm living there. The men's side must have been crowded too, and Zhou Jijun probably mentioned the back rooms as an option. Knowing Cheng Zhixia's personality, he probably couldn't stand the noise up front. You're living back here too? Yakin asked, surprised. He nodded, said nothing more, walked into his room, and shut the door. He sure knows how to pick his spot, Yakin muttered. But I guess having a guy back here makes it safer. I was surprised too. In the book, Cheng Zhixia hadn't lived in the back. But then I figured it out. In the book, Zhixia was the one who moved back here alone. A single girl and a single guy living in the same back courtyard would have been inappropriate. So of course he didn't come. I smiled. This is actually better. People in front and back, we can all keep an eye out for each other. We didn't say much more, and started cleaning our rooms. Meanwhile, up in the front women's quarters, Zhixia was chatting with Zhu Mei, casually dropping comments. Sister Zhu, why do you think Wan Qiu and Yakin insisted on living back there? Those rooms are so run down. I tried to talk them out of it so many times, but they wouldn't listen. Wan Qiu even said she snores. I think she was just making excuses. Zhu Mei was assigning bed spots and answered without looking up. If they want to live there, let them. Less crowding for everyone. 5 years in the countryside, Zhu Mei had seen every type. She saw right through Zhixia's little games. Zhixia hit another dead end and shut her mouth, but inside, she was cursing me 1,000 times over. This Lin Wanqiu was blocking her at every turn. As for why Cheng Zhixia chose the back, when Zhou Jijun brought the guys to the west wing, the room reeked of sweat and foot odor. Cheng Zhixia stood inside for less than 2 minutes before his eyebrows scrunched together. Can I live in the back rooms? Zhou Jijun blinked. You can, but they're pretty rough. You'd have to fix them up yourself. I'll live in the back, Cheng Zhixia said, and walked out without another word. A room full of guys stared at his back. One of them, Lu Weigua, curled his lip, acting all above everyone else. Zhou Jijun shot him a look. Keep it down. He can live wherever he wants. Lu Weigua shut up, but he clearly wasn't happy about it. I put my bags down and said to Yakin, let's go borrow a broom from the front and sweep out the cobwebs and dust first. Yeah, let's go. She agreed. We walked to the main hall, where Zhu Mei was giving the older youth their tasks for preparing dinner. She saw us coming and stopped. What's wrong? To run down back there? Want to move up front? No, Yakin said quickly, waving her hands. We just want to borrow a broom to sweep out our rooms. Zhu Mei nodded and pointed to the corner. There are 2 old brooms over there. Take them. She paused, then added, you don't have to rush to move in back there. It's tight up here, but at least it's livable. Those rooms need the roof fixed and heated beds built. That'll take 3 to 5 days at least. Why not stay up front until then? Thanks, Sister Zhu, but we're fine, I said with a smile. Spring's here, and it's warming up. A little draft won't hurt. As long as we get the roof fixed before it rains, we'll be okay. Yakin nodded along. Really, Sister Zhu, it's no problem. Zhu Mei saw we weren't budging and let it go. All right. If you need help with anything, just ask. Oh, and tonight there's a welcome dinner for you new youth. Be at the main hall at 7. Got it, Sister Zhu, we both said at the same time. We took the brooms and headed back. I started with the ceiling, sweeping down cobwebs. Dust fell everywhere, making me cough. Yakin grabbed the other broom and worked on the floor. Her movements were clumsy. She'd obviously never done this before, but she put real effort into it. These rooms may be rough, but at least they're brick, she said while sweeping. Way sturdier than mud walls. Once they're fixed up, they might actually be pretty nice. And quiet, I agreed. We worked for over an hour until both rooms were clean. I pulled out an enamel basin printed with, "Serve the people," from my canvas bag and a dusty old rag. My uncle's wife had packed them specially, saying they'd come in handy for cleaning when I first arrived. I poured a little water into the basin and wiped down the wooden plank bed carefully. It was still old and worn, but at least it was clean now. Yakin looked at her brand new towel and didn't want to ruin it on the dirty bed. "Wanxiu, can I borrow your rag?" "Of course." I handed it over. "Just wash it and give it back when you're done." She took it gratefully and went to wipe down her own bed the same way I'd done mine. We chatted while we worked, little things about home, plans for the future. We were getting more comfortable with each other. The exhaustion from the road and the strangeness of this new place started fading. "We should go talk to the village chief about fixing the roof and building the heated beds," I said, straightening up after wiping the last plank. "Yeah, I don't know anything about that stuff," Yakin nodded. "Should we go now? Let's ask Sister Zhu where the chief lives." We locked our doors and walked back to the front. Zhu Mei was busy in the kitchen. She smiled when she saw us. "All done cleaning?" "Yep." "Thanks again, Sister Zhu." I returned the brooms. "We want to find the village chief to talk about the repairs." "Do you know where he lives?" She pointed east. "Go out the gate, walk east. Look for the tallest poplar tree. The chief's house is right next to it. His name is Gao Manchong. He's pretty easy to talk to." "Thanks, Sister Zhu." I fished 2 white rabbit candies from my pocket and pressed them into her hand. "A little thank you for all your help." She blinked and tried to push them back. No, I can't take things from you. You just got here. Please keep them," I said, smiling. "We're going to be bothering you a lot more in the future." Yakin backed me up. "Really, Sister Zhu, they're just candy. It's the thought that counts." Zhu Mei looked at the candies in her hand and a small smile crossed her face. These 2 girls had good manners. She stopped refusing and tucked them in her pocket. "All right then, I'll take them. Oh, if you need furniture, find one of the carpenter in the village. He does good work, just has a stubborn temper. Be polite with him. His house is right next to the chief's. Easy to find." "Thank you, Sister Zhu." We said goodbye and headed out. Near the back gate, Yakin suddenly said, "Should we ask Xin Jinyan to come along? He's living back here too. He'll need the repairs done just the same. Going together might make things easier." I thought about it. Made sense. "Sure, let's ask." We knocked on his door. "Comrade Shen, are you there?" After a moment, the door opened. Xin Jinyan stood inside, his white shirt dusty. He'd been cleaning his room too. "What is it?" Same flat tone as always. "We're going to the village chief's house to talk about fixing our rooms," I explained. "Want to come with us?" He seemed surprised we'd thought to include him. Then he nodded. "Okay." Yakin spoke up. "It's our first time visiting the chief. Should we bring something? Showing up empty-handed doesn't feel right." I'd been thinking the same thing. Definitely. That's how things work in the countryside. Going with nothing looks like you don't care. Shun Jinyan agreed. "My father always said if you're asking someone for help, you need to show proper respect. So, what should we bring?" Yakin thought out loud. "All I've got in my luggage is clothes, some books, and snacks." I considered it. "I'll bring a jean of brown sugar." My uncle's wife packed 2 jean for me. Brown sugar was a luxury out here, a solid gift. Yakin's eyes lit up. "I'll bring a piece of fabric." My mom gave me 2 pieces of dacron for making new clothes. One of those should make a nice gift for the chief's wife. We both looked at Xin Jinyan. He reached into his canvas bag and pulled out a flat tin box. "I'll bring this." Yakin leaned over curiously. The tin had De Shengchan brand cigarettes printed on it. "You brought cigarettes?" She sounded surprised. "You don't seem like a smoker." "You don't smell like smoke at all." Shun Jinyan tucked the tin back in his pocket. "My father told me to bring them. Said they'd be useful for building connections in the countryside." I understood right away. Shin Jinyan's father was a smart man who knew how the world worked. He'd thought of everything. We found the chief's place quickly. A tall poplar tree stood right next to a fenced yard, just like Zhu Mei described. The carpenter Wang's house was next door, easy to spot with wood piled outside the entrance. "This is it." I pointed at the fenced yard. "Let's go in." I walked up, gently pushed open the half-closed gate, and called out, "Hello? Anyone home?" "We're the new educated youth. We're looking for the village chief." The gate creaked open and chickens scattered everywhere, flapping and squawking. I'd barely finished calling out when a woman's head popped out from the kitchen. She was in her 40s, wearing a patched blue jacket, hair combed neat, with sharp eyes that immediately noticed what we were carrying. "Oh, you must be the new educated youth." She came over smiling.
Come in, come in.
"I'm the village chief's wife. Call me Auntie Ho-Hot." Yakin smiled and nodded. "Hello, Auntie Ho-Hot. We came to talk to the village chief about something. He's inside." Auntie Ho-Hot cheerfully took everything from our hands. The brown sugar, the fabric, the cigarette tin, cradling it all against her chest while leading us to the main room. "Manchong, get out here. The new youth are here." The main room had mud walls, but the floor was swept clean. An old square table with chipped paint sat in the center with 4 long benches around it. Auntie Ho-Hot set our gifts on the table corner and quickly wiped down the benches.
Seat, seat.
"I'll get you some water." We just sat down when a slightly chubby middle-aged man came out from the back room. He wore a gray mouse suit with shiny worn cuffs, village chief Gao Manchong. His eyes swept over the gifts his wife was still holding, and I caught a flicker of satisfaction. But his face showed nothing but polite modesty. "Ah, the new educated youth."
Seat, seat.
"You didn't need to bring anything." "That's too kind." I stood up respectfully. "Village chief, it's our first time here. It's only proper to pay our respects." He waved his hand and sat in the main seat. "I hear you have something to discuss." I explained everything. The front rooms at the youth quarters are full, so the 3 of us were assigned to the old rooms in the back courtyard. The roofs leak, and there are no heated beds. We were hoping you could find a few villagers to help us with repairs. We'll pay for labor and materials ourselves. Gao Manchong rubbed his fingers together thoughtfully. By rights, the brigade should have your housing sorted. But it's spring now. Fieldwork is urgent. Every family's busy earning work points. Hard to spare anyone. Then he shifted tone. But since you're in a hurry, I could find a few men. You just need to pay them a little extra. They'd be missing work, and their families shouldn't suffer for it. Fair enough. Cheng Zhixia nodded right away. Absolutely. It's only right to compensate them for lost work time. Good, then it's easy. Gao Manchong smiled. If you feed the workers, it's 3 mao a day per person. If you don't feed them, for mao. Roof tiles and mud bricks. Some villagers have extras. If you don't want to run around collecting them, we'll pull some from the village and charge you based on what's actually used. I pushed a little further. Besides fixing the roofs and building the heated beds, we'd also like to add a small kitchen next to our rooms. Nothing big, just enough for a wok and some seasonings. The main kitchen at the youth quarters gets crowded. Having our own would be easier. I made sure to add, with a door we can lock. Gao Manchong raised an eyebrow. Building a kitchen takes more materials and labor. That'll cost extra. Money's not a problem. I looked at Yakin and Xinjian. They both nodded. I turned back to the chief. As long as it gets done right, we'll pay whatever it costs. All right, let me give you an estimate. He counted on his fingers. Fix 3 roofs, build 3 heated beds, add a small kitchen for each of you, materials and labor together, about 15 yuan per person. 15 yuan was a lot for educated youth. But compared to sleeping in a leaking room with no heated bed, it was worth every fun. The 3 of us agreed immediately. Thank you, village chief. We'll go with your numbers. I'll have workers over there tomorrow. He settled it with a clap of finality. Then he pointed next door. For furniture, go see Carpenter Wang.
He's good.
He's got bed cabinets, tables all ready-made. You can trade grain or pay cash. Have him make your kitchen doors and windows too. He can work out the measurements with the builders tomorrow. Sounds great. With the business done, Auntie Ho-Hot came out carrying 3 bowls of sugar water. Here, drink up. Just made it. We took the bowls and thanked her. The warm, sweet water went down and spread through my chest like a little blanket of comfort. Stay for dinner, she offered warmly. I'm almost finished cooking. Yakin shook her head quickly. No thank you, Auntie. There's a welcome dinner for us new youth tonight. We should get back for that. Next time then. Come eat whenever you're free. She didn't push it and walked us to the gate. Carpenter Wang lives right next door. Good time to go. He just got back from the fields. We thanked them both and headed over. Right outside Wang's place, a man in his 50s was chopping firewood. He wore a rough cloth jacket, and the muscles on his arms bulged with every swing. That was Carpenter Wang. Excuse me, are you Carpenter Wang? Yakin asked. He looked up, saw 3 clean-looking young people, and smiled. That's me. You're the new educated youth? Yes, I nodded. We'd like to buy some furniture and have you make doors and windows for our kitchens. Come inside. He set down his axe and led us into the yard. Wood was stacked everywhere, and in the corner sat a freshly made wooden chest, sanded smooth and shiny. What do you need? He brought us into his furniture room. These bed cabinets are ready to go. Camphor wood keeps bugs out. 1 cabinet for 30 jin of coarse grain, or 5 yuan cash. I've got tables and chairs too. A table with 2 benches for 20 jin of grain, or 3 yuan. The 3 of us looked everything over. The cabinets weren't big, but the craftsmanship was solid. The drawers slid smoothly. The tables and benches were simple and practical, perfect for small rooms. We'll take 3 bed cabinets and 1 table and bench set, I said. And we each need a kitchen door and window. Use whatever wood you think is best as long as it's sturdy. Pine for the doors and windows. Strong stuff, he nodded. I'll come to the youth quarters tomorrow to take measurements. They'll be ready the day after. 5 yuan for all the doors and windows. Sound fair? Deal. When do you want the furniture? Once the rooms are fixed, if you could deliver them over. No problem, he agreed without fuss. We each paid 5 yuan as a deposit. Thank you, Carpenter Wang, walking out of his place. The sun was already low, pouring golden light across the village dirt roads. Our shadows stretched long behind us. Finally, everything settled. Yakin let out a big breath and smiled. I didn't expect it to go so smoothly. The chief and the carpenter are both pretty decent. Yeah, I agreed, feeling a weight lift off my shoulders. Construction starts tomorrow. In a few days we'll have decent rooms. Cheng Zhixia had been quiet the whole time, but now he suddenly spoke up. Do you have enough money and grain tickets? If not, I have some. I blinked, then smiled. I'm good. Yeah, can you? I'm fine too, she said. Good. He nodded. Nothing more. We walked back toward the youth quarters. Along the way, villagers kept staring at us curiously. A couple of Annies smiled and asked, You the new educated youth? Yakin and I smiled and answered them. Cheng Zhixia stayed quiet as usual, just giving the occasional nod. Back at the courtyard, the 3 of us tidied up and started thinking about the welcome dinner. Should we bring something tonight? Yakin asked first. She'd grown up in a military compound where bringing gifts was second nature. I've got 2 cans of luncheon meat in my luggage. Should I bring 1? I frowned. Canned meat is too flashy. We just got here and don't know how things work at the youth quarters yet. Showing up with something that expensive right away could backfire. I remembered what I'd seen earlier when I went to find Zhu Mei, the ingredients they'd prepared for tonight. A tiny piece of pork, maybe an ounce or so, 2 eggs, and 1 head of cabbage. That was it. When I was up front earlier, I saw what they're cooking, just a sliver of meat, 2 eggs, and a cabbage. If we walk in with canned meat, we'll look way too different. People might even think we're suckers showing off. Yakin paused, then got it. You're right. I wasn't thinking. Back home, bringing canned food was totally normal. I forgot this isn't the city. She'd never had to worry about having too much, so the risk of looking rich hadn't crossed her mind. I didn't exactly have a lot of experience with social situations either, but ever since that dream on the train, I felt like I needed to think twice about everything. I looked at Cheng Zhixia. What do you think? He thought for a moment. I have a can of mandarin oranges. Would that be better? Orange preserves were still a treat, but much less attention-grabbing than meat. That works, I nodded. But let's not have you pay for it alone. The 3 of us should split it. Yakin jumped in right away. Agreed. How much was it? 1 yuan 20 fun, Cheng Zhixia said. Here's 50 fun for me. I pulled a coin from my pocket and held it out. You provided the cans, so Yakin and I should cover a bigger share of the cost. Yakin dug out 50 fun too. Another 50 for me. That rounds it out. Cheng Zhixia tried to refuse. 40 fun each would actually be enough. Don't argue over a few fun, I said, pressing the money into his hand. None of us really know how to handle these things yet. Let's not make it awkward. He looked at the money, then at both our faces, and quietly pocketed it. I'll go get the can. He went to his room and came back with a glass jar of mandarin oranges, bright orange fruit printed on the label. It looked delicious just from the outside. The 3 of us walked to the dining hall together. Along the way, We passed a few older youth heading the same direction. They greeted us warmly, though their eyes were full of curiosity. The hall was already pretty full when we arrived, a dozen or so people seated around two long tables pushed together. Zhu Mei was busy at the stove. She smiled when she saw us. Finally, we've been waiting for you three. Sister Zhu, we brought something. I pointed at the jar in Shen Jinyan's hands. It's a can of mandarin oranges. The three of us chipped in. A little extra dish for tonight. Zhu Mei's eyes lit up as she took it. You kids, you didn't have to bring anything. She said that, but her hands were already prying off the lid with a small knife. She poured the oranges onto a plate and set it in the center of the table. Everyone try some. The new youth brought mandarin oranges. A soft wave of amazement went around the room. Eyes locked onto those golden orange slices, full of longing. Out here where supplies were scarce, canned fruit was a real luxury. Come sit. Zhu Mei waved us over. We're about to start. We found an empty spot and sat down, ending up diagonally across from Zhixia. She was sitting next to Lu Chongshen, the two of them whispering about something. The second she saw us, she switched on that warm smile and patted the empty seat beside her. Wan Qiu, Yakin, come sit over here. It's closer, easier to chat. I pretended I didn't hear and looked down, fussing with my sleeve. Yakin turned the other way entirely and started talking to the girl next to her.
Im Zhou Yakin.
I'm new. The girl smiled shyly.
Im Li Hom.
I've been here almost a year. Zhixia's smile froze. A flash of annoyance crossed her eyes before she covered it up. Back in her factory compound at home, she'd never met anyone she couldn't win over. But here, three of us had shut her out, and worse, we'd teamed up. Shen Jinyan didn't glance at Zhixia once. He pulled a thick book from his pocket and started reading, as if the noise around him didn't exist. I quietly studied the people in the dining hall, mostly in their 20s, all carrying that worn-down look from countryside life. While we were settling in, the dark-skinned, stocky guy from our group, the one who'd helped Li Taiju with the luggage earlier, suddenly stood up, went back to the men's dorm, and came back with a small piece of cured sausage. Sister Zhu, I brought a little something too. He handed it to Zhu Mei. My mom packed it for me. Something extra for everyone. The sausage was only about a finger's length, but it was glossy with oil and obviously carefully smoked. In a place where everything was rationed, it was a genuinely generous gift. Zhu Mei took it with a smile. That's really thoughtful of you, Comrade Bai. Yakin whispered to me. His skin is so dark, but his last name is Bai. Bai meant white. The irony wasn't lost on us. The others in the hall looked at him with approval too. Meanwhile, the glasses-wearing guy from our group didn't move at all, just sat there fiddling with his chopsticks like he hadn't noticed anything. Ma Zhaodi, Zhixia, and Lu Chongshen stayed put too. Ma Zhaodi even pursed her lips a little, as if she thought the whole gesture was unnecessary. Soon everyone was present. Zhu Mei moved fast, setting dishes on the table. Each person got a fist-sized cornflour bun. There was a pot of wild vegetable soup with a few lonely wisps of egg floating in it. A big plate of cabbage stir-fried with paper-thin slices of pork. And a small dish of dark, salty pickled vegetables. Last came the mandarin oranges and the sliced sausage. Zhu Mei raised her voice on purpose. The mandarin oranges are from Lin Wanqiu, Zhao Yakin, and Shen Jinyan. All three chipped in. The sausage is from Baiyang. Everyone enjoy. Eyes lit up across the table. The looks aimed at the four of us got a lot warmer. In a meal this plain, the sweet tang of canned oranges and the salty richness of cured sausage were like little treasures. Thanks to the new youth, that sausage looks amazing. After a whole winter of nothing but corn porridge and pickled vegetables, with maybe a cabbage thrown in once in a while, the older youth were practically drooling at tonight's spread. I watched it all, and, quietly, let out a breath of relief. Good thing we didn't bring the canned meat. This was just right, showed goodwill, without going overboard. Exactly the balance we needed. The noise in the dining hall settled down. Zhou Jijun stood up and cleared his throat. Before we eat, let's do introductions since we have so many new faces. That way we can look out for each other. He went first.
I'm Chou Hyun.
Been here 6 years. I'm the youth quarters leader. If you got problems or questions, come find me. Then Zhu Mei wiped grease off her hands and smiled. I'm Zhu Mei, from Lin Province. 5 years here. I handle the women's side. If there's anything you girls don't feel comfortable telling Zhou, tell me instead. The older youth went around one by one, names, hometowns, how many years they'd been here. I tried hard to remember them all, but really only caught the ones with loud voices. When it was our turn, I stood up first. I'm Lin Wanqiu, from the capital. Yakin followed. Zhao Yakin from Shanghai. Shun Jinyan's voice was as flat as ever. Shun Jinyan from the capital. Zhixia puffed out her chest a little, her voice sweet and cute. I'm Cheng Zhixia, from He City. Please take care of me, everyone. Lu Changshun jumped right in after her. Lu Changshun, same place as Zhixia. By Yang, He City. The glasses guy pushed his frames up. Sun Jiming, from Tianjin. Last was Ma Zhaodi, her voice thin and quiet. Ma Zhaodi, from Gui City. After the round, I couldn't remember every name, but I had a rough sense of where everyone was from and what they were like. Zhou Jijun waved his hand. All right, everyone's met. Let's eat. The instant those words left his mouth, chopsticks attacked the table like a rainstorm. That tiny piece of sausage was gone in seconds. The ones who got a bite shoved it in their mouths fast. The ones who missed out smacked their lips with regret. The pork slices and the cabbage stir-fry were even more fought over. I only managed to grab a clump of plain cabbage, not a speck of meat in sight. The mandarin oranges didn't survive either. Those golden segments vanished almost immediately, leaving nothing but a puddle of sugar syrup at the bottom. Zhu Mei gave everyone a bowl of the egg drop soup. The wild greens in it tasted slightly bitter, and the egg was broken into pieces, so tiny they looked like scattered stars. But even that counted as a rare taste of something rich. Among us new youth, Bai Yang managed to snag a small piece of sausage. Sun Jiming just kept his head down and gnawed on his corn bun. Zhixia, Ma Zhaodi, and Lu Changshun didn't get anything good at all. Zhixia's face darkened visibly. Zhu Mei looked at the empty plates with a hint of embarrassment. She picked up the bowl that had held the oranges and brought it over to me and Yakin. Wanqiu, Yakin, you brought this and barely ate any. Want the sugar water at least? The rim of the bowl still had bits of orange pulp clinging to it, clearly touched by many pairs of chopsticks. I felt a little squeamish about it, but smiled and waved her off. Sister Zhu, we brought the can for everyone to enjoy. Let everybody share the syrup. Yakin and Shun Jinyan nodded too. Exactly. It's better when everyone shares. Someone immediately piped up. Well, don't mind if I do. They grabbed the bowl, sipped along the edge, then passed it to the next person. That little bit of sweet syrup got passed around to over 20 people until every last drop was gone. In a place where sugar was scarce, even that was precious. I chewed my corn bun. The rough grain scraped my throat going down. I had to chase each bite with soup just to swallow. Here, even a hint of meat or fat was a luxury. After the meal, Zhou Jijun stood up again. One more thing before you go. We've always taken turns cooking, groups of 3. With the new people, we need to redo the schedule. Before he could finish, Shun Jinyan suddenly stood up. The 3 of us won't need to be on the rotation. He pointed at me and Yakin. We're setting up our own kitchen in the back courtyard. We'll cook for ourselves. Yakin and I nodded right away. Right, we'll handle our own meals. Zhou Jijun blinked, clearly didn't expect that, but didn't object. Fine, cooking separately works too. Let me explain about the personal garden plots then. The brigade gives each person 1/10 of a mu based on head count. Everyone here has been sharing plots and sharing food. Since you 3 are cooking on your own, you'll need to clear a new patch by the courtyard, plant and harvest it yourselves. Firewood you'll have to gather on your own too. Water's easy, there's a well in the yard, just draw it yourself. No problem, the 3 of us said together. One more thing, grain rations, Zhou Jijun added. Each new person gets 20 jin to start. Tomorrow morning, you 3 meet me at the dining hall, and we'll go to brigade headquarters to pick it up. With everything settled, the 3 of us got up and headed back to the rear courtyard. Walking past Zhixia, I caught a glimpse of her biting her lip, eyebrows knotted tight, eyes full of frustration and scheming. Back in the courtyard, Yakin finally let out a long breath. Cooking for ourselves is definitely the way to go. That scramble for food just now, I've never seen anything like it. This countryside life is no joke. You'll get used to it, I said with a bitter smile. Meanwhile, back in the dining hall, Zhixia was watching our backs disappear and feeling like a rock was stuck in her chest. Before coming here, she'd had it all figured out. I looked gentle and easy to handle. Yakin obviously had money. Pull us both close and she could mooch off our food and supplies while using our connections. And Cheng Zhixia was her real target. Handsome, clearly from a good family. If she could marry him, she'd never have to worry again. But now the three of us had banded together, set up our own kitchen, and wouldn't even eat with the group. How was she supposed to get close to anyone? Especially Cheng Zhixia. She'd just lost half her chances to be around him. Zhixia's fists tightened. Her family had too many kids. Her father favored boys. Her brother got a job bought for him. Her older sister was married off for bride price. If Zhixia hadn't been sweet-tongued enough to convince her father that going to the countryside could help her meet sons of high-ranking cadres, she probably would have been sold into marriage too. She only had 20 yuan with her. The nice clothes she wore were sweet-talked off some factory manager's daughter. She looked polished on the outside, but inside, she had nothing. She'd been counting on Cheng Zhixia for a better life.
But now,
her eyes turned sharp. She refused to believe she couldn't win over one Cheng Zhixia with her tricks. As for me and Yakin, if we got in her way, she wouldn't hold back. Lu Changshen noticed her dark expression and whispered, "Zhixia, what's wrong?" "Nothing." She swallowed her thoughts and squeezed out a smile. "I just think those three are too antisocial. They're going to be hard to get along with." Lu Changshen nodded eagerly. "Right? Just got here, and already acting special. Who do they think they are, big city princesses?" Zhixia didn't respond. But inside her head, the wheels were turning. She needed to find a way to show Cheng Zhixia who the right woman for him really was. I woke up just as the sky was getting light. Roosters crowed outside, and the air had that damp, cold feeling that only early countryside mornings have. I remembered the roof repairs were starting today, so I jumped up and washed my face at the stone slab by the well. The icy water snapped me awake instantly. Back inside, I rolled up my bedding and tucked it away. They'd be pulling off roof tiles, and dust would fall everywhere, better to keep things clean. I'd barely finished when I heard men talking outside, along with the clinking of tools. I hurried out and found several workers standing in the yard, holding trowels, carrying poles, and bundles of new tiles. The one in front was a young man in his 20s, broad-shouldered with dark skin. "You're the educated youth who needs the repairs, right?" He grinned, showing white teeth.
I'm Wang Donzhu.
"The village chief sent us." "Yes, yes. Thank you for coming." I pointed out the rooms. "These two on the east side, and one on the west, the roofs all leak and need patching. We need 3 heated beds built, plus a small kitchen for each of us outside." Wang Dezhu walked around the buildings, checking things over, then nodded. "Roofs are easy, just swap in new tiles. For the heated beds, we'll use yellow clay and straw. Solid stuff. The kitchens, though," he rubbed his chin. "Village is short on tiles, so we'll use mud bricks for the walls and thatch for the roofs. It'll keep the wind and rain out, just won't look fancy. That's perfectly fine. As long as it works." Yakin and Cheng Zhixia came out and agreed right away. We just wanted to be comfortable. Nobody cared about looks. "Oh, one more thing," I added. "Carpenter Wang might come by later to measure the kitchen doors and windows." Wang Dezhu waved his hand. "You go do what you need to do. When he shows up, I'll handle it. We're starting with the roofs, so clear your things out of the rooms so they don't get covered in dust." We moved our boxes and bundles to a corner of the yard and covered everything with cloth. Then Yakin checked the sky. "We should head to the front. Picking up our grain rations is important." We walked to the dining hall. Zhou Jijun was already waiting at the door with Bai Yang, Sun Jiming, Zhixia, Lu Changshen, and Ma Zhaodi. "Sorry we're late," I said. "You're fine. Everyone just got here." Zhou Jijun waved it off. "Let's go. Accountant Zhou at brigade headquarters is expecting us." Zhixia immediately put on a smile, her voice warm and familiar. Wan Qiu and her friends were probably busy tidying up their rooms. "We're all new here. We should be understanding with each other." She said it while sneaking glances at Cheng Zhixia, trying to show how thoughtful she was. Shun Jinyan stared straight ahead like she didn't exist. Yakin, and I didn't bother responding either. We just followed Zhou Jijun. Brigade headquarters was in the middle of the village, a row of brick buildings with a wooden sign that read, Xiangyang Production Brigade, hanging over the door. The accountant was already in his office, an old man in his 50s wearing reading glasses, hunched over a ledger writing numbers. Accountant Zhou, I brought the new youth, Zhou Jijun called out. The old man looked up, adjusted his glasses, and gave us a slow once-over. Ah, the new ones. Here for your grain rations. He pointed to the corner. 20 jin of corn flour and 20 jin of sweet potatoes per person. It's all right there. Count it carefully. The bags were opened and golden corn flour gave off a faint grain smell. Beside them, bamboo baskets held round sweet potatoes still caked with damp earth. Thank you, Accountant Zhou, everyone said. Sign here. He handed us a register and a pen. We signed one by one. I wrote my name carefully, stroke by stroke. There's a flatbed cart outside if you can't carry it all, the accountant offered. Just bring it back when you're done. That was a lifesaver. 20 jin of corn flour plus 20 jin of sweet potatoes for 8 people added up to a serious pile. No way we could carry it all by hand. Bai Yang stepped forward right away. I'm strong. I'll pull the cart. You guys just help push from behind. He was already loading sacks onto the cart, quick and efficient. Thanks, Bai Yang, I said gratefully. It's nothing. He smiled that honest smile of his. On the way back, the cart wheels creaked over the dirt road. Zhixia saw her chance. She slowed down and slid up next to Shen Jinyan, her voice soft as syrup. Comrade Shen, so you're cooking for yourselves in the back courtyard? Do you even know how to cook? How about we team up? I'm actually a pretty good cook. Shen Jinyan didn't slow down, didn't look at her. His voice was cold as ice. No need. I can cook. Zhixia's smile stiffened, but she wasn't giving up. It's so much easier when 2 people share the work. You chop wood, I cook. How convenient. Not convenient. Shen Jinyan cut her off and sped up, moving to walk beside me instead, leaving Zhixia standing behind us. Her face turned bright red, half embarrassed, half furious. Her eyes even got a little wet. Lu Changshun muttered beside her. What's his problem? She's being nice and he treats her like dirt. Zhixia shot him a glare and said nothing. Zhou Jijun was walking at the front. He saw the whole thing and quietly shook his head. Near the youth quarters, Zhou Jijun turned back to the 3 of us. Your kitchen won't be ready for a couple days. Why not eat with everyone in the dining hall until then? Yakin didn't even think about it. No thanks, Squad Leader Zhou. I brought dry rations. We'll manage. Shen Jinyan and I nodded too. After last night's food-grabbing frenzy, we'd rather chew on dry bread than go through that again. Zhou Jijun didn't push it. All right, do what works for you. Let me know if you need anything. At the youth quarters, Bai Yang pulled the cart right up to the back courtyard gate. Let me help you carry these in, he said, hoisting a sack of corn flour onto his shoulder and walking inside. Bai Yang, really, we can do it ourselves, I said, hurrying after him. It's no trouble. He set the sack down in the corner and went back for the sweet potatoes. Shen Jinyan grabbed another sack and followed him in. Zhixia stood at the courtyard gate, watching the 3 of us work together smoothly. I could practically see the sting in her eyes. Zhixia, let's go move our rations too. Lu Changshun nudged her arm. She snapped out of it, pushed down whatever was boiling inside, and forced a smile. Let's go. But there was something darker in that smile, something even she probably didn't notice. Back in the courtyard, I looked at the grain stacked against the wall, then up at Wang Dezhu and his crew working on the roof. I took a deep breath. The roof was getting fixed. The grain was picked up. The kitchen would be built soon. Life in the countryside was hard, but step by step, things were falling into place. The sun climbed to the middle of the sky. Up on the roof, Wang Dezhu and his crew were still working, shouting and clanking tiles. My stomach was growling like crazy. Yakin, are you hungry? I called out at her door. Starving. She opened up, looking a little helpless.
The stove isn't built yet.
Can't even boil water. All we can do is chew on dry food. I nodded. My uncle's wife packed me a tin of biscuits. Want to go borrow some hot water from the front and eat those? Anything's better than eating them dry, she agreed. We grabbed our enamel mugs and walked to the dining hall. The girl on cooking duty today had short hair cut to her ears and wore a faded blue jacket. She was crouched by the stove, feeding it firewood. "Hi, could we borrow some hot water?" Yakin asked politely. The girl looked up, paused for a second, then recognized us as the new youth who'd brought the orange preserves last night. She smiled warmly.
I'm Suayag.
"You're Lin Wanqiu and Zhao Yakin, right?" "That's us." "Hello, Comrade Sue." We greeted her quickly. "We just need some hot water," I said, holding up my mug. "Our kitchen isn't ready yet. We want to soak some dry rations." "No problem." Su Weihong was easygoing. "The water's almost boiling. Sit down for a minute, and I'll pour you some." She pointed at a bench. "By the way, that can of oranges you brought last night, everyone loved it. That's kind of you to say." It was just a small gesture. I thanked her, and Yakin and I sat down. When the water boiled, she filled both our mugs. "Careful, it's hot." "Thank you, Comrade Sue." We held the warm mugs and felt the heat spread through our hands and into our chests. "Anytime you need water, just come by," she said with a smile before turning back to her work. Back in the rear courtyard, Yakin pulled me into her room with a mysterious look. She dug deep into her luggage and pulled out a tin can decorated with red peonies. "Look what I've got." I leaned in, and my eyes went wide. "Malted milk powder? You brought this." Even in the city, this stuff was hard to get. Out here in the countryside, it was like gold. My mom secretly packed it for me. She popped the lid, and a sweet fragrance drifted out. "Here, let me mix you a cup." "That's way too precious." I hesitated. "Oh, stop it." She scooped 2 spoonfuls into my mug and stirred in hot water. "Yesterday, you warned me not to bring the canned meat. You saved me from a huge mistake. This is nothing compared to that." She made herself a cup too. "I'd only share this with you. Anyone else can forget it." Her eyes were so sincere that warmth filled my chest. I stopped refusing. "Then let me get something too." I ran to my room and came back with a tin of biscuits. "Let's share." Yakin opened it. Neat rows of soda crackers with a sesame smell. Then she rummaged through her bags and pulled out an oil paper packet. Inside were some slightly crushed peach pastries. "Have some of these too. They got banged up on the road, but they taste the same." Peach pastries. I was thrilled. "Those are my favorite. I don't care if they're crumbled." We sat on the edge of her bed, sipping warm malted milk, trading biscuits and pastries back and forth. In that crumbling little room, these simple snacks tasted almost luxurious. Oh, I suddenly remembered. Before I left, my luggage was too full, so my family mailed a package to the town post office. I need to go pick it up. "Want to come with me?" Yakin's eyes lit up.
Yes.
"I have a package too." We cleaned our mugs and got ready. I remembered the book mentioning that the village had an ox cart that went to town, so I asked Wang Daju about it. He said there was one leaving after lunch. Pick it up at the village entrance. 10 fin each way. Perfect. Let's eat and head to the village gate. I told Yakin, and we washed up, locked our doors, and hurried out. Under the old pagoda tree at the village entrance, a creaky ox cart was parked. The driver was an old man with salt and pepper hair, sitting on the cart shaft smoking a pipe. He grinned when he saw us. "You must be the new educated youth." "Hello, Grandpa. We'd like to go to town," I said with a smile. "Last name's Zhou. Just call me Grandpa Zhou." He tapped his pipe clean. 10 fin one way, 20 fin round trip.
Hop on.
"We'll leave in a few minutes." "Thank you, Grandpa Zhou." We paid and climbed on. Soon 3 village aunties carrying baskets showed up too. "So these are the new educated youth. So pretty." A plump auntie looked us up and down, eyes bright with curiosity. "Such fair skin, nothing like our village girls, like something out of a painting," another agreed. "Hello, aunties." We smiled and greeted them politely. Grandpa Zhou waited a few more minutes, then cracked his whip. Off we go. The ox cart swayed along, wheels grinding against the dirt road with a steady creak. The aunties were very friendly, peppering us with questions. Where were we from? What did our families do? "I'm from the capital," I said, smiling. As for my family, I kept it vague. Just an ordinary family. Both my parents are factory workers. Yakin followed my lead. "I'm from Shanghai." Regular family too. She remembered my warning about not showing off wealth. The aunties didn't press further. They shifted to village gossip instead. Whose chicken laid a double yolk egg, whose field needed beans planted, whose daughter-in-law was fighting with her mother-in-law again. Lively chatter, the everyday kind. Yakin and I listened quietly, adding a word here and there, secretly collecting useful bits of information about the village from their stories. The ox cart moved slowly. After nearly an hour of swaying, we finally reached town. It wasn't big, one main street running east to west, with a supply store, a post office, a clinic, and a few general shops lining either side. Simple, but way more lively than the village. Here we are. Supply store's that way, post office is the third door straight ahead. Grandpa Joe pointed out the directions. I'll be waiting here at 5 o'clock this afternoon. Don't miss it. Thank you, Grandpa Joe. We hopped off the cart and looked at the bustling little street. Post office first? Yakin asked. Post office first. I nodded, but my eyes were already on the post office door down the street. My family had said the package was stuffed full. Winter clothes alone took up most of it. The two of us probably couldn't carry everything on our own. An idea hit me. I pulled 2 white rabbit candies from my bag and walked back to Grandpa Joe. Grandpa Joe, I said, holding out the candies with my sweetest smile, would you mind driving the cart over to the post office? Our packages are probably really heavy. I don't think we can carry them. His eyes lit up the moment he saw those candies. White Rabbit was a real treasure out here in the countryside. He took them carefully and tucked them into his jacket like they were something precious. No problem at all. I'm just sitting here waiting anyway. Hop on, I'll take you right over. Thank you. We climbed back on, thrilled. Yakin leaned close to my ear and whispered, "You're so clever. How did I not think of that?" I just smiled. I'd learned it from the book in my dream. The cart swayed over to the post office. We jumped off and walked inside. We're here to pick up packages. Lin Wanxiu and Zhao Yakin, I told the clerk. She rummaged through the shelves and dragged out 2 fat, bulging parcels covered in address labels. Sign here. We'd barely bent down to lift them when Grandpa Joe came walking in. Let me. He grabbed both packages with his big hands like they weighed nothing and carried them out to the cart in long strides. These sure are heavy. What's in there? Winter clothes and food, mostly, I said. Grandpa Joe, we still need to buy some things at the supply store. Could you watch the packages for us? Go on ahead. He thumped his chest. I'll wait under that old pagoda tree at the edge of town. Not a thing will go missing, I promise. We thanked him, and I stopped outside the post office door. I want to call home. Let them know I'm safe. Yakin's eyes brightened, then wavered. Isn't a phone call expensive? I was going to just send a telegram. It costs more, sure. But hearing your family's voice, that's worth it. I could tell she missed home badly. I tugged her arm gently. You should call too. Hearing them will make you feel better. She bit her lip, then nodded. Okay, I will. Missing home on the first day is kind of embarrassing though. Long distance? Where to? The operator asked. Shanghai and the capital, I said. Shanghai first, that line gets busy. The operator dialed, shouted a few things into the receiver, then looked at Yakin. Wait a bit. It needs to be transferred. Might take a while. Yakin clutched the hem of her shirt nervously, staring at the black telephone. I stood beside her. Don't be nervous. Just tell them you're doing fine, and not to worry. About 15 minutes later, the phone rang. The operator called out. It's through. Go ahead. Yakin practically lunged for the receiver, her voice trembling just slightly. Hello? Mom? A woman's urgent voice came through the other end. Yakin kept nodding, her eyes slowly turning red. She kept saying, I'm fine, and it's not hard here, and don't worry about me. The call lasted only a few minutes, but she wiped her eyes several times. When she hung up, her voice was cracking. Feel better? I handed her my handkerchief. She sniffed and gave me an embarrassed smile.
Yeah.
Hearing my mom nag me for a couple minutes, my heart feels so much lighter. Your turn. I took a deep breath and walked to the phone. The operator started dialing. The rotary clicked with each number. Back in the capital, my uncle's wife had been camped by the phone at her workplace for days, terrified she'd miss my call. Ever since my parents were sent to the labor farm, I hadn't slept a single peaceful night. I'd wasted away so much my clothes hung off me. My uncle and his wife had watched me fall apart and felt helpless. They'd pulled every string they could to get me assigned to a youth camp near my parents, but they'd been worried sick ever since. The phone rang, and she must have grabbed it instantly. "Hello? Is that Wanchio? It's me, Annie." The second I heard her familiar voice, my nose stung, and all the composure I'd been holding together just collapsed. "You made it? Are you exhausted?" Her voice was choked with tears. "Did you get the package we sent? There's the soy sauce meat and beef jerky you like, and the padded jackets I made for your parents. Make sure nobody gets cold." "I got it. Just picked it up." I sniffed hard, trying to make my voice sound cheerful. "I'm doing great. Everyone at the youth camp is really nice. Don't worry about me." "Good, that's good." She was crying on the other end. "I also wired you 50 yuan. Go to the post office counter and pick it up. Don't be stingy with yourself. Buy whatever you need. And your parents. If you get a chance to visit them, go. If not, don't force it. Stay safe. That's what matters most." I know. My tears finally spilled over. "Auntie, take care of yourself too. Stop worrying about me so much. You too, child." She gave me a few more reminders before reluctantly hanging up. I set down the receiver. My eyes were red and puffy. Yakin came over and patted my back softly. "I get it. Calling home just makes you miss them more. Tell me about it." I wiped my tears and managed a smile. I steadied myself and walked over to the money transfer window. I showed my letter of introduction, gave my name, and the clerk counted out 50 yuan and handed it to me. I folded the bills carefully and slipped them into the space while my bag blocked the view. "Let's go, supply store next." I turned to Yakin. The redness in my eyes had already started to fade. We walked side by side toward the supply store. "Right," I said, wiping the last trace of tears. "If we don't hurry, Grandpa Zhou's going to get tired of waiting." The supply store was pretty crowded. Shelves lined with fabric, farm tools, salt, sugar, and daily goods. Not exactly fancy, but it had a little of everything. The supply store was busy with people coming and going. I'd barely reached the kitchen section when I spotted a clerk struggling to lift iron woks onto a shelf, their black glaze shining under the light. My eyes went wide. I grabbed Yakin and rushed over. "Excuse me, how much are these woks? Do you have more? We want to buy some." The clerk was a slightly chubby middle-aged woman. She straightened up with a smile when she saw how eager we were. "You must be the new educated youth. Lucky timing. This batch just arrived today. We were out of stock for 3 months." She pointed at the woks. "The big 8-print wok is 3 yuan 12 fin plus 1 industrial coupon. The small 6-print is 2 yuan 34 fin plus half a coupon. We're setting up our own kitchen," I said. "Which size do you recommend?" "If you ask me," she sized us up, "get 1 big and 1 small. Set up 2 burners. 1 for cooking rice, 1 for stir-frying. Much more practical." "Thank you, sister. We'll take 3 big ones and 3 small ones." I made sure to say sister nice and sweet. That one word made the 40-something clerk's whole face light up. "Oh my, what a sweet girl." She grinned ear to ear. "All right, 5 big ones came in, and only 3 small ones. They're all yours." She pulled more woks out from under the shelf. Fresh off the delivery, still warm. Yakin and I counted out our money and coupons carefully. 3 big woks came to 9 yuan 36 fin plus 3 industrial coupons. 3 small ones were 7 yuan 2 fin plus 1 and a half coupons. We pooled our cash and tickets together, handed it all over, and watched her stamp the receipt. Only then did my heart settle. Things aren't yours until they're paid for. After paying for the woks, Yakin copied my approach and called out sweetly, "Sister, do you have any thermos bottles?" "We need 3. The clerk sighed. "Bad luck on that one. The last one sold this morning. With all the educated youth arriving, thermoses have been flying off the shelves." I thought fast. I pulled 3 white rabbit candies from my bag and slipped them into the clerk's hand. "Sister, could you keep an eye out for us? Next time they come in, please save some. We'll definitely come by them." She looked at the candies and her eyes sparkled. Even working at the supply store where she saw more goods than most people, White Rabbit was still special. With a big family at home, she rarely got to enjoy them. She pulled me aside and lowered her voice. Actually, there's a slightly damaged one in the back. The bamboo casing has a scratch on the outside, but the glass lining is perfect. No coupon needed. I was saving it for a relative, but since you girls need it so badly, want it? If you don't mind the scratch. We don't mind at all. Thank you so much, sister. I answered instantly, terrified she'd change her mind. 5 yuan, no coupon required. She disappeared into the back and came out carrying a thermos. The bamboo shell had a faint scratch, but the glass inside was flawless. It cost more than the normal price of 450 plus a coupon, but on the black market these went for 8 yuan. It was still a bargain. I paid before she could blink. We were turning to leave when she called after us. Hey, girls, wait. We looked back. She was pointing at the kitchen knives in the corner. You bought woks but no knife? You've never cooked before, have you? How are you going to chop vegetables? We both slapped our foreheads. We'd been so focused on the woks that we completely forgot about knives. Our faces turned red. Thank you for reminding us, sister. We're so scatterbrained. Everyone's like that when they're starting out. She laughed and pulled a cleaver off the shelf. The blade gleamed, sharp and solid. This is our best carbon steel knife. Big size, you could chop right through bone with it. 1 yuan 60 fin each, no coupon. We'll take 3, I said right away. 1 for each of us. We paid and picked up the heavy knives. Yakin couldn't help but gush. If it weren't for you, sister, we'd have gone home with no way to even cut a vegetable. Thank you so much. The clerk waved her hand. Don't be silly. If you need help figuring out how to run a household, come ask me anytime. We thanked her again and headed to the seasoning section, arms full of woks, knives, and 1 thermos, hearts full of gratitude for that kind woman. Soy sauce was 12 fin per jean. Vinegar was 8 fin. Salt was 15 fin. Rapeseed oil was 80 fin per jean, but oil required oil coupons, and we didn't have any. Sister, we don't have oil coupons. Could we trade industrial coupons instead? I asked with a hopeful smile, flashing the coupons. These are pretty hard to come by too. She looked at the industrial coupons. Those could buy bicycles or sewing machines, worth far more than oil tickets. Her eyes flickered with calculation. All right, I'll use my own monthly ration to trade with you. She grabbed a small oil can from under the counter and filled it with 2 jean of rapeseed oil. That should last you a while. Since we hadn't brought bottles, we spent 70 fin on 3 glass containers, 2 at 20 fin each for soy sauce and vinegar, and 1 at 30 fin for oil. All thick glass that wouldn't break easily. At the snack counter, I picked up a jean of egg cakes, 2 jean of fruit hard candies in cellophane wrappers, and a jean of white rabbit milk candies. Yakin looked puzzled. Why so much candy? When you're getting around the village, asking for favors or meeting people, handing over a candy works better than 100 nice words, I whispered. White rabbit is too flashy for everyday use. The fruit candies are perfect for small social occasions. Yakin's eyes went wide with understanding. She bought the same amounts. Our pile of purchases was getting ridiculous. Woks, thermos, seasoning bottles, all stacked together and heavy as anything. I noticed woven baskets in a corner and pulled Yakin over. Let's get 2 with lids. Good for carrying things. The lidded ones were 80 fin each, 10 fin more than the open ones, but the cover kept prying eyes away from what was inside. No coupon needed. And straw hats, I said, pointing at the wall. We'll need them for field work. 30 fin each, no coupon. We each picked a tightly woven one that fit perfectly. We stuffed the food and seasonings into the baskets and snapped the lids shut, nice and hidden. The woks we stacked together, big ones on the bottom, small on top, and carried them carefully toward the old pagoda tree at the edge of town. From a distance, I could see Grandpa Zhou sitting by his cart, smoking. When he saw us lugging iron woks toward him, he stubbed out his pipe and hurried over. Good heavens, did you two clean out the whole supply store? Just picked up some things for daily life, I said with a laugh. Could you help us load them onto the cart? Grandpa Zhou hoisted the woks one by one into the cart bed, muttering the whole time. You city girls look all soft and delicate, but when it comes to getting things done, you sure don't mess around. Everything was loaded onto the ox cart. Grandpa Zhou sat on the shaft smoking his pipe and looked at us. Got everything? Want to look around some more? We've still got time before we leave. I checked the sun's position and smiled. Grandpa Zhou, we're going to grab a bite at the state-run restaurant up ahead. We'll be quick. Would you mind watching our things a little longer? Go on, go on. He waved us off. I'll be right here. We walked down the main street toward the restaurant. Even from far away, the smell of meat hit us. The restaurant was small but already half full, mostly townspeople and a few villagers who'd come in for errands. At the counter, the server asked flatly, "What do you want?" "One braised pork, one sweet and sour pork, 2 bowls of rice." I ordered. Yakin and I had agreed to share, so we could try both dishes. Braised pork 150, sweet and sour pork 120, rice 20 fin a bowl. 3 yuan 10 fin total, plus 2 jin of grain coupons. The server sized us up as she quoted the price. Most educated youth pinched every penny. It was rare to see any ordering real meat dishes. The food came quickly, and we carried it to our table. The braised pork glistened with a beautiful dark glaze, layers of fat, and lean giving off the sweet fragrance of soy sauce and sugar. The sweet and sour pork was golden and crispy, coated in a tangy sauce that made my mouth water just looking at it. We dug in, trading bites back and forth. Our rice bowls were empty in no time. We even mopped up every last drop of sauce with our rice. That was incredible, Yakin sighed, rubbing her belly. Even better than what our housekeeper makes back home. On our way out, I stopped at the counter. "Do you have any buns left?" The server rolled her eyes. "Just 7 left over from this morning. Take them all or leave them. 50 fin plus 3 liang of grain coupons. I'll take them all. Could you wrap them separately, 3 in one packet, 3 in another, and the last one by itself?" "So fussy," she grumbled, but she grabbed oil paper and wrapped them exactly how I asked. She gave me another look as she handed them over. "There." I took the buns without caring about her attitude and pulled Yakin outside. "Why wrap one separately?" Yakin asked, curious. "For Grandpa Zhou." I held up the single bun. "He watched all our stuff the whole afternoon, and he knows we went to the restaurant. It wouldn't be right not to share something. Country folk notice these things. A small kindness now buys a lot of goodwill later." Yakin's eyes widened. "You think of everything." I handed her one of the 3 bun packets. "These are yours. The other 3 are mine. They're for tomorrow. Our stoves still aren't ready, and we can't live on biscuits forever." She immediately dug out money and coupons to pay me back. I waved her off. "My treat this time. Next time you buy me braised pork." "Deal." She carefully tucked the buns into her basket with a grin. "Wan Xiao, if it weren't for you, I'd be losing left and right out here. We're both figuring it out as we go. We help each other." Then I added, "Oh, when we get on the cart, keep your cleaver in your hand." Yakin stared at me. "Hold a cleaver? That's dangerous." "It's for protection," I said quietly. "Look at us, big packages, bags full of new purchases. It's obvious we have money." Some of the village women like to push new girls around because they think we're too polite to say no. They might try reaching into our baskets. If we're holding knives, they'll think twice. What if someone asks why? We say we're worried the cleavers will bounce around inside the basket and cut our other things on the bumpy road. Everything we bought cost good money, so we're being careful. Perfectly reasonable. I held up my carbon steel cleaver and let the blade catch the light. Yakin gave me a thumbs up. "Your brain works so fast." We walked back to the cart. The 3 aunties from this morning were already sitting there. The plump one spotted the cleavers in our hands immediately, and her expression shifted. I could practically see her calculations. She'd been thinking these 2 soft city girls with all their bags might be easy pickings. But seeing us each gripping a shiny blade, she quickly changed her mind. "Why are you girls holding knives like that? Isn't it dangerous?" The thin auntie asked with a nervous laugh, her voice probing. Yakin repeated what I'd taught her word for word. "Annie, the road's so bumpy, and these cleavers are really sharp. If we put them in the baskets, they might slice through our other things. Everything costs money, so we'd rather be careful." The plump auntie opened her mouth to say something, glanced at the gleaming blade in my hand, and swallowed her words. I might look delicate, but the way I held the knife was steady and my eyes didn't waver. Not someone to mess with. I walked over and handed Grandpa Zhou the single-wrapped bun. "Grandpa Zhou, thank you for watching everything all afternoon. Please have this." He waved his hands. No, no, it was nothing. Please take it. I pressed the warm bun into his hand. We'll need your help carrying everything to the youth quarters entrance too. There's no way the two of us can manage alone. Well, if you insist. He held the steaming bun, and his face softened. Don't you worry. I'll deliver everything right to your door and help you carry it all inside. The ox cart rocked slowly toward the village. The three aunties didn't say another word to us for the entire ride. Every now and then, they'd sneak a glance at the knives in our hands, eyes full of caution. Yakin and I exchanged a look. We both saw the relief in each other's eyes. The trick worked perfectly. Nobody bothered us for the rest of the trip. When the cart stopped at the youth quarters, Grandpa Zhou kept his promise. He carried every wok, every package, every basket right up to the back courtyard gate. Before leaving, he reminded us, anytime you need to go to town, just find me. I'll save you a spot. Thank you, Grandpa Zhou. We waved as the cart rolled away, then finally let out a long breath and tucked the cleavers back into our baskets. We made it, Yakin said, wiping sweat from her palms. Those aunties' looks were making my skin crawl. You'll get used to it, I said with a smile. This is how countryside life works. You have to watch out for yourself everywhere you go. We'd barely set our things down at the back courtyard gate when Wang Dezhu and two workers came out of the east wing, mud trowel still in hand. He spotted the iron woks on the ground, and his eyes lit up. Perfect timing. The heated bed in the east room is just finished. We were about to build the stove. I looked where he was pointing. The door to my room, the one farthest east, was wide open. Inside, the fresh heated bed platform was still damp, the yellow clay smooth and neatly shaped, giving off that earthy new mud smell. Wang Dezhu grinned. Your room was first, since it's on the east end. Let it dry a few days, and you'll be able to sleep on it. He noticed the two big packages on the ground. Those yours? I'll have the guys carry them in. Thanks, Brother Wang. This one's mine, that one's Yakin's. I pointed them out. He waved the workers over to move the packages inside, then pointed at a rickety wooden bed in the corner of the yard, all four legs slightly crooked. I didn't take that bed apart. The heated platform is still wet, so use this for now. When we finish up for the day, we'll move it inside your room for you. Thank you so much. I pulled a big wok and a small wok from the basket and handed them over. Brother Wang, please use these two to build the stove. Sorry for the trouble. No trouble at all. He passed the woks to a worker. Once the stove's built, burn some fires in it whenever you can. It'll dry the whole thing faster. Oh, and you probably don't have firewood, right? People around here gather wood from the east hillside. Stick to the edges, don't go deep. There are wild animals further in. Villagers all stay on the outside too. Thanks for the warning, Brother Wang. I'll go collect some later. Don't mention it. Everyone here knows that. You city kids just don't, that's all. He waved his hand and went back to work on the stove. Meanwhile, Yakin had already run over to the west side and called Shen Zhixia out. Comrade Shen, we brought you woks and a cleaver. They were hard to get. Shen Zhixia walked out and saw the pile of iron woks and the knife on the ground. Surprise flashed in his eyes. Thank you so much. These really are hard to find. Wanchio paid for everything up front, Yakin said, pointing at me. It came to 7 yuan 6 fin plus 1.5 industrial coupons. You can settle up with her. Shen Zhixia quickly pulled out his money and coupons, counted them carefully, and handed them to me. Thanks for making the trip. I really appreciate it. It was nothing. I took the payment and tucked it away. He carried his big wok, small wok, and cleaver back into his room, handling them like they were precious. That left the thermos, the one with the scratched bamboo shell. I handed it to Yakin. You use this one. I have a relative in town who knows people. I'll have him help me find another one later. What I actually remembered was from my dream. In the book, Zhixia went through the door to the modern world and bought things like thermoses. Items that were scarce here were easy to get on the other side. But I wasn't going to tell Yakin about the space. I just gave her a reasonable excuse. Yakin looked uncomfortable. I can't just take this. Why not? I pushed it into her hands. If I want hot water, I'll come borrow some from you. You wouldn't refuse me, would you? Of course not. She laughed and accepted it. Well then, thank you. Come over for hot water anytime. Since my room was still being worked on, Yakin pulled me into hers. Come sit in my room for a bit. We'd barely walked in when she fished a white rabbit candy from her basket. I'm going to borrow hot water from the front again. I gave Su Weihong a white rabbit this morning, so I have to bring the same thing this time. Otherwise we'll look cheap. I nodded. Good thinking. She came back quickly with a full thermos of hot water and called out the moment she stepped through the door. Wan Qiu, grab your mug. I want to get my enamel mug, expecting plain hot water. But Yakin went straight for that red peony tin of malted milk powder, scooped 2 spoonfuls into my cup, added hot water, stirred it up, and handed it to me. Drink up. This is my thank you. I can't take this, I started. Stop being polite with me. She shoved the mug into my hands. You taught me so many things today. You gave me the thermos. If it weren't for you, those Annies on the cart would have talked me out of who knows what. This little bit of malted milk is nothing. Her eyes were getting red. You're the only person here who's been genuinely good to me. I won't let you go without. Looking at her sincere face, warmth spread through my chest. I stopped refusing, took the mug, and sipped. The sweet, rich flavor bloomed across my tongue, and the warmth traveled all the way down to my heart.